Hello. Say hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
I knew you were gonna do that. Stream announcements. Q&A is live. Okay, can you guys hear us all right? Please confirm. Oh, microphone's kind of turned the wrong way. You can be heard, bit of background noise though.
Who's breathing? Is it Chloe again?
It's Chloe. Is it like a humming or is it like a like breathing? Because it's the dog.
Humming. The fridge?
Humming? It's probably the fridge then, or it's the computer. Is it really bad or is it like eh? There's no fan that's on, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's perfectly bearable. Ooh, okay. All right, I'm gonna go tweet out the stream then. We're back.
So how are you guys doing? I'm good, thank you.
You just finished the Peter Quill mod? I missed the Spider-Man stream yesterday. How was it? It was okay. It was better than I thought it was going to be. The combat has more to it. I think if you got really good at stringing the web pull together, and if you were really aware of your environment, you could bounce off walls and stuff, I think it could be quite fun. I think there's potential there, but you can spam your way through a lot. I kind of felt like sometimes the warnings that you were going to get hit weren't that clean. I'm not sure. But it was better than I thought. It's definitely not a cheap cash-in game or anything like that. It's definitely received quite a bit of love and attention. Alright, so we're a weeaboo, and we're on the Mo farm. 2-hour video, Joe, please? Nah, I won't be making a video on Spider-Man. If I do, it'll be a long time from now. Okay, so I started this farm a few weeks ago. I think it was the first stream I did after the God of War video was done, and it was it wasn't out yet, but the video was done. I did a stream before it was released, and I think that's the last time we played this one. So yeah, this is just gonna be background as we are answering the questions. We have a lot of questions. Whoops. Here's our dog Makoto. We have a lot of questions. We will take some from chat, but most of them are going to be from the Q&A. Chances are we're going to run this into over 3 nights, I think, because there are that many questions. But I might try and give slightly more condensed answers in order to not make it go that long, because that's a lot of streaming at night, and it's meant to be some time off for me right now. Sorry, this is the Q&A for August, and it was meant to be in August, but Finn has been having a lot of trouble going to sleep at night, and we couldn't do it. Not only we've been tired because of it, it's also that we can't stream together while the kids are awake, so we have to wait for them to go to sleep, and if they take forever to go to sleep, then it's bad. So we got a baby monitor so we could both be in the basement while we do one of these streams, and of course as soon as it gets here and it arrives, he doesn't scream that night when he goes to bed. So we are trying it in the living room because it's a lot more hospitable in the living room for the two of us. There's actually a comfy chair for Lily to sit in, whereas if we went downstairs she'd have to sit in a deck chair. So we're gonna try it this way. If he wakes up, then the stream might get cut short, but even if we were in the basement, if he wakes up, the stream's cut short anyway, so we'll see. Anything to add?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so just a warning that we might lose some of this. Well, this might be cut short. I'm a little tired, by the way, in case you can't tell. But I think we'll be fine getting through it. We almost tried last night, but we were just too tired, and by we I mean me. Lily was ready to go, but I was too tired.
No. I'd been downing teas all day, so...
Might have to have a tea during this.
I was ready to go. Today I only had one, so we'll see how long I make it. Thank you to Frosty Jesus, who resubscribed for 4 months and says 4 whole months.
Thank you very much, Frosty Jesus. Thank you. Weird that you're here. Usually you're here during the day streams. I wonder if there are a few people that's just like the perfect schedule for when we stream during the day and when we stream at night. Be kind of nice, huh? So don't expect any like high-level Stardew play, even if that exists. So I'm just going to be wandering around mostly aimlessly, maybe doing a bit of farming, a bit of fishing, and mostly just kind of...
Maybe cutting down some trees?
Maybe cutting down some trees. Mostly just answering questions, though. That's what this is all about, so we'll see. Wish I could make... My second laptop today is second laptop. My second screen today is a tablet, and I have
He says I ruin my sleep schedule and wake up at 4 p.m. now.
I've been
That'll
there.
do it.
Yeah, I've been there. Can we skip?
You have a German insomniac too.
Anton?
Yeah.
Yeah. German and an insomniac. That must be hard. Sorry. You should try being Welsh and an insomniac, though. I think that might take it. I thought you could skip these. Oh, you have to click the right. Okay, my tablet is blocking in the bottom right corner.
And Block says, this is my first stream I'm watching live.
Bok.
Block.
Oh, well, welcome. Pufferfish. Ooh, should we grab the pufferfish for the, I think you catch them in summer, don't you?
You've got a Greek here, and Anton says, I know that German people aren't supposed to be proud of being German, but we invented the car. So you have some Europeans here, even though it's really early for them.
How many nights do you think this will be split into? 2 or 3. I highly doubt we're gonna get through everything in one night. We don't have the quest to get this guy yet. I thought he sent a letter the next day.
Are you gonna schedule some stream reruns while you take a well-deserved rest?
No, we don't really do that anymore. The response wasn't really that big. I don't know. We might try it again sometime, but that's kind of fallen out of favor. I was gonna premiere the God of War video on Twitch, but when I uploaded it, Twitch told me that the file was too big, so I rendered it out again at a smaller file size so I can upload it, but I haven't done that yet. So I could possibly make that something that happens one day. But yeah, mostly I'm going to be putting all the VODs up onto YouTube. I have a lot of them to catch up on. Also, I wanted to finish Moon Crash on stream. I forgot about that, and I think that's something that should happen. All right, let's put the gold potatoes in because I know we need the gold potatoes, and let's just sell the silver ones and the normal ones. Okay. And sorry, the tablet is taking up quite a bit of the screen, and sometimes I'm not seeing it. Where are my tools?
Did you notice Caption is back? I've been speaking to him a lot actually on Discord.
Yep, I noticed. Yep.
It's good to see him back.
Guess who's back?
Are you excited to piss off Dongo Bongo fans next Wednesday?
No, not really. They've been a bit obnoxious, but arguably so have I. I'm hoping for some good times. I really liked the first game. I don't know why people don't believe me. I really did like it. I wish they did believe me, but yeah. Let's go upgrade the pickaxe.
Did Spider-Man make you less excited to play the Batman games?
Is that what they're like? Because if that's what they're like, yeah, probably a little less excited. It was okay. Like, I mean, I wouldn't mind to play it right now. You know, some more right now, because it's that kind of game where I feel like I could. What? That's the resolution right now? Why is that the resolution? That's weird. Really? Why is it that? Oh well, I guess we're just living with that. That's weird.
Apparently Batman has worse mobility, worse combat, and Spider-Man is just improved Batman.
Oh, is it?
Thank you to Frosty Jesus, who used 489 bits and says, I had these left over from being a friend to annoy them, so here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frosty Jesus. Okay, I'm annoyed that the resolution is not there. There you go. Okay, it's full screen. Now we can fix it, I think. Oh no. Oh, look at this. Alright.
That's really
This is fun. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Alright, let's restart.
Did you ever go to your local library much growing up? I did a lot. Did you?
Not really. I did go though. Yeah, but not really.
Do you remember before we started going out when we had the goldfish?
Yeah.
And do you remember one day I had to go to the library after school and he had won a goldfish in whatever class, I don't remember.
I love
And it was in this little plastic bag and he was carrying it home and I had to stop to drop off my books at the library. And they had a sign out front that said no pets, so he had to wait outside while I took my books inside.
Yeah, I won a goldfish at school. Yeah,
we called him Dude, and he was our baby fish. He didn't live very long, though. That was our first pet.
Why is this happening? Why is this happening? I'm not happy about this. Why is this happening?
I don't know why. He died fairly early on. I had a fish that lived to be 8, so sometimes they live, but sometimes they don't.
Okay, is that it fixed? Okay, we're windowed and it's 1080. Alright, there we go. Did we fix it?
RTX isn't enabled. I don't know what that means.
Okay, this doesn't look fixed. Whatever, we'll just play it like this. Sorry, it was bugging me. I'm sorry.
How do you feel about chinchillas?
Is that a food or a dog?
I think it's more ferret-like, isn't it? More in the rodent family?
They're okay.
No strong feelings.
Chinchilla. Oh, they're okay. They're pretty cute. They're like a real-life Pokemon, right? They look like the kind of Pokemon that you would catch in the first...
Oh, they're not really ferret-like.
In the first... they're
more like a mouse
They're
rabbit.
more mousy. It looks like one of the first Pokemon you catch in like the first route. And, you know, it would evolve into just a bigger version of itself. And it's mostly useless. And you put a bunch of HMs on it and that would be the end of it. That's what I think. Is your computer resolution not 1080p? Is that why this is happening to me?
It was your computer first. Why the hell would I know that?
Well,
I don't know anything about the computer. Except turn it on.
When you got it, it was at 1080p. But you know.
Well, how would I fix it?
I don't know. You find a way.
Okay, well, I didn't do it on purpose. If I did do it, I'm really impressed that I managed to do that.
Remember the time that you accidentally made Chrome full screen and you didn't know how to make it not full screen anymore and I had to come and fix it for you?
Which time?
Do you know Finn figured out that if you're watching a YouTube video, you can press F to make it full screen.
He taught me that.
He figured that out before either of us did.
C, it's closed captioning. I am not sassing. I resent that.
F.
How's your night going?
It's going okay. A bit tired, but I'm okay. Yeah. I don't think I've had a good night's sleep in about 6 weeks, and not getting a good night's sleep is not unusual for me, as I just tweeted about recently. But going this long without some form of restorative sleep is very unusual. So I don't know what that's all about. I don't think it's because of pushing the video, because I've done that before, as we will talk about, because one of the questions is about that. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something to do with not adjusting to the house yet, or a combination of a few things. But I'm really tired. But even if we weren't doing this right now, I don't think I could sleep. But yeah, kind of all over the place. Sorry if that's too honest. I want to be here. I like doing the Q&As a lot, but I am really tired. Do you possibly have sleep apnea, Joe? Do you snore? No, I don't really snore. I hold my breath. When I went for a sleep study, they said that I have some form of sleep apnea, or at least they said I might. And they gave me one of those masks to wear that force air to your into my lungs. But the thing about narcolepsy is that most people, when they sleep, they're paralyzed. That's what the body does. The body does that so you don't hurt yourself. If you're acting out your dreams or any other way. I'm not exactly sure how the body is paralyzed. I've seen multiple theories of how it's done. I think they know now. I think recently there was a big breakthrough on sleep that I haven't read up on yet. I think they even won a Nobel Prize about it. I think that happened last year. Anyway, so I don't get paralyzed when I sleep usually. And sometimes I can get paralyzed when I'm awake, because that's what narcolepsy does. It can mess up the order when things happen. So when I was wearing the mask, I would just take it off in my sleep because it was really uncomfortable. I toss and turn all over the place when I'm sleeping, and I would put it on, and I would just it's just not happening. I think mostly though, I don't think I do have sleep apnea. I think I hold my breath when I'm sleeping. Recently, over the past year, I've worked quite hard on fixing that. Making it breathing more regularly. As the dog is breathing so heavily in the background right now. Hey dog. Oh, she's out, huh?
She's awake now. You woke her up.
She's oot. She's
Oh,
oot. Yeah. I know that mostly the reason why I'm not getting a good night's sleep is because of dreams. If I dream a lot, I don't sleep well. That's the big one. The very, very few rare times that I will sleep and not dream is when I wake up feeling the most rested. That's what the best medication for narcolepsy is Xyrem, and Xyrem induces I think is it Xyrem or Xyrem? I think it's Xyrem. Xyrem. Xyrem, which induces a dreamless sleep. Unfortunately, it's also a highly controlled narcotic, as far as I understand it. It's very addictive, and it can get you very, very high, or something close to high. I don't know. I've never been on it. Until I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, it was prohibitively expensive, because although most things are covered in Canada by, I can never remember if this is Britain or Canada. OHIP is Canada, right? Covered by OHIP. So Canada's health service. Medication is not covered. Neither is dental. So
or optometrist, unless it's medical.
So procedures and everything and visits are covered, but medication is not. So it was too expensive. Now we could almost certainly afford it, I think. I'm not sure, actually. It depends. We probably still have to be on some sort of insurance plan in order to properly afford it, because it is really that expensive. But maybe it's gone down in price since then, or maybe there's a generic of it now. But I don't have the same doctor anymore. I haven't really visited a doctor for narcolepsy in a long time. I'm completely unmedicated, and until recently, I was doing much better. But now I'm getting worse again. So maybe that's something we should look into. But Xyrem scares me, because they say the first time you take Xyrem, you should have someone stay up all night next to the bed to make sure you don't die, because it's if you have an adverse reaction to it your first time, you're not waking up afterwards. And maybe that's just something they tell to scare you, so you don't fuck around with it and take it and stay awake or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's quite heavy. The bad thing about it is also that it only lasts for 4 hours, so you have to take it, go to sleep for 4 hours, set an alarm, wake up after 4 hours, get up and take another one. And it's at least it was when I looked into it years ago, it's not a pill, it's a powder or a liquid that you put in a glass of water and you down it. And that doesn't sound like fun to me. But yeah, that's Xyrem. But hey, a dreamless sleep sounds fucking fantastic. Really, really fantastic. A lot of narcoleptics that I've seen in discussions have said, I was really nervous about taking it, and then I took it, and it's completely changed my life, and it's so good. But I've also seen other narcoleptics say that they like to abuse it. They like to take it and stay awake, and they have a nice yabba dabba doo time while they're tripping out on Xyrem. Yeah. Wait, what are we talking about? Narcolepsy treatments. The big one that treats narcolepsy. But yeah. I don't know. Narcolepsy has been kind of frustrating. Not kind of. It has been frustrating in many ways. First of all, going all my life without knowing that I had it. I used to believe in ghosts. I used to think I was haunted because I used to see and hear things. When I was a kid, at least a few times a week, and I'm not exaggerating, at least a few times a week, every single night when I would go to bed, I would just be about to drifting off, and I would hear someone whisper my name into my ear, like lips pressed against my earlobe, that close right into my ear, and I used to jolt awake, like holy shit, because it was an auditory hallucination, which is apparently quite common. That's something that a lot of people report. And so I used to think that there were supernatural forces. I used to think I was haunted and there were ghosts and all this other bullshit. I used to tell people, either they're a ghost or I'm crazy, and it turns out that I'm kind of crazy because that's what it is. But I don't really want to talk about that right now. What I do want to talk about is that the frustrating thing about being diagnosed was that, and Lily was with me when I got diagnosed. I don't know why. I think she was in the area for something else. I can't remember. And Lily was with me when we went in, and there were the 2 appointments with the doctor. And the first appointment was, these are the problems I have. And he said, okay, look, we're going to do a sleep study. You're going to come in and we're going to hook all these electrodes up to, I think they're electrodes up to your scalp. And we're going to monitor your heart and all this other stuff, and you're going to go to sleep, and you're going to sleep here for the night, okay? And then you're going to stay here for the next day for 8 hours or something, and you're going to take 5 naps during the day, and during those naps, they're going to be 20 minutes each. We're going to keep the electrodes on you, we're going to monitor you, and we're going to see, what the results are. And he's like, and this is really a test for narcolepsy. And I'm like, okay. And in my head, I was like, oh, narcolepsy is like, that's the condition where you just fall asleep randomly, right? Like, that's all I knew about it. And then he looks at me really seriously and says, you don't want it to be narcolepsy. And I was like, what? And he's like, that's one of the worst ones that there is. You don't want it to be narcolepsy. And in my head, I immediately go, well, I know what I have.
Yeah, but not like you have any control. You not wanting it to be. If you go home and you're like, oh, please, please, please don't let it be narcolepsy, it's just not going to be narcolepsy, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to be. That's not how it works.
That's what the doctor says to me, and then I do the day, which was awful, absolutely awful, and I do the day, and I go back there for the results, and he says, okay, yep, you have narcolepsy, and that is all he said. He didn't say anything else. Know what this is, what this means, what to do. He didn't say anything else. He just said, we're going to send you to a neurologist to do a brain scan just to make sure it's not a brain tumor instead of narcolepsy. And that was it. Obviously, I did not have a brain tumor. So yeah, that was pretty frustrating. And I was a lot younger and a lot more timid back then, and I didn't really want to push it. I figured this would come up at another appointment later on or something, and that just never really happened. I was sent back to my family doctor. I don't know why we're talking about this.
She said you were tired.
I remember when I did that day when I was napping. After the second nap, the technician that's there, that's monitoring it for the doctor to see the results later. He comes in after the second nap, so he's seen me nap twice now, and immediately enter REM sleep. He can see the results already. So he comes in and he says to me, okay. It's like, and remember this is me who until fairly recently thought there was supernatural bullshit. And he says to me, so what can you do? And I'm like, what? And he's like, the results that you're having. You know, every single person that's come in here with these results, you know, the last one could see through walls. The one before that was, she was a really great painter. So what can you do? And I'm like, what? What are you fucking talking about? Like, are you fucking crazy? What the fuck is the matter? Like, it's like, yeah, and that.
This was a clinic that specialized in sleep disorders.
Yeah.
Too. This wasn't just like some.
That guy was off his rocker. Yeah. How old was I? 20, 21?
Yeah.
21? Yeah.
Well, you just started living together.
It's like, am I an X-Men now? Like, come on.
Oh, maybe 21 or 22.
Where's the letter about the community center? When's that happening? Let's go find the X. Oh, we're doing this. Anyway, is there anything from chat that I've missed while I was going on my little journey there, or should we start with the Patreon questions?
Someone asked if they wanted to make a one-time donation. Should they do it through Patreon, or how should they go about doing that for you?
We're so enough. This feels shitty to me to say this, but people ask. So, we've set up a PayPal thing that people can, if they want to, if they prefer doing that, then Patreon or Twitch or whatever. That will be available soon. We're setting it up under Lily's name. I think it's working now. We just have to make it official and put the links up. But yeah, if that's something that's easier, that should be available at some point in the near future. Patreon works fairly well. If you donate something to Patreon, you get charged up front, and then you get charged when the month ticks over, which is why I usually say, unfortunately, it's hard to tell people this, because, you know, they have to happen to be on the stream when I say it, that you shouldn't donate to mine or anyone else's Patreon at the end of the month. You should wait until the month ticks over. So it probably would have been better if I had put, I think most people know that too. It probably would have been better if I had waited until September 1st to put the God of War video out, because, you know, while it was still fresh, some people might have been more willing to begin pledging, whereas, you know, you think, oh, it went up on the 30th, and then someone, I'll wait until the 1st, and then they forget, understandably, you know, it's not that big of a priority, that sort of thing. But the video was already so late, and I wanted it out. But yeah, I understand some people don't like Patreon. I understand some people don't like Twitch. Yeah, so that's something that can happen. If you want to do one time through Patreon, you can, and just cancel it right away, and it'll charge you once and it won't charge you again. But yeah, thank you for the consideration. Don't feel that you have to because you asked. I know that you probably won't think that you have to, but I always like to say it just in case.
Thank you to Zeusbag, who subscribed with Prime.
Thank you very much. Zeusbag?
Zeusbag.
That's an interesting name.
And thank you to Mrs. Mardicus, who resubscribed for 2 months.
Mrs. Mardicus?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mardicus. If people buy your book, do you get money from it? Yep. That or reading it through Kindle Unlimited thing also works. You get paid by the page, I think, for that one. Yeah. Same for Lily's books.
Lily Books.
Lily Books. Okay, should we start the Patreon questions?
Yeah.
We're okay, Wadey. We're a bit tired, but we're okay. You guys can hear the game, right? Because our sound is muted because we have speakers up here. We don't have headphones, so it's muted. Audio's good? Alright, excellent. Okay. Did I enjoy Spider-Man earlier? It was okay. Better than I thought. It was okay. I summarized my thoughts in a tweet, if you want to go look at the tweet. But yeah, it was okay.
Who's the better writer? We're just gonna say each other. And thank you to Frosty Jesus, who gifted a sub to Noodle Incident.
Noodle Incident?
Yeah.
That's a cool name. Thank you, Frosty Jesus. Welcome, Noodle Incident.
And thank you to Koi Vision, who resubscribed for 11 months. Has it been 11 months already?
Yep. We don't know the exact date of the first stream, but we're gonna go with
I remember you
September.
mentioning that. Okay.
September 25th is gonna be the stream anniversary. I don't know what we're gonna do on that day, but yeah. So
They say, sending my love. Cheers to almost a year of streaming.
thank you, Koi Vision. Thank you.
Okay. So, Patreon questions. The first one is from Carlos S.
How's it going,
And
Carlos?
Carlos says, "Hi Joe and Lily, hope you guys are doing well. These are my questions for this month. We know you have crunched during the making of the God of War video. Have you ever done that before while working on a video or a book? And what are your thoughts on how the whole crunch culture affects game devs and studios and even games? Jason Schreier writes pretty often about the matter, and I know you read his stuff. That's why I'm asking."
I've read his book. I don't read his stuff often. I think I've only read one of his articles. That's not a conscious decision. It's just I don't do much reading or watching recently. But I did read his book. I read Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and I liked it a lot, and I thought it was really interesting. So pretty much every single video has been a result of crunch. There hasn't been a single one that has been made without it. There's always been a period of intense production, usually toward the end, but sometimes it's throughout the whole project. Even the smaller ones, something I didn't say because if there's setback, sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't, because I don't want there to always be like, oh, there's another setback, oh, there's another problem. But the Steven Sausage Roll video was one of the ones that I made ahead of time, and then was going to be released when I was doing the Witcher ones. That's what the idea was behind that. So when I decided that wasn't going to happen anymore, and I wanted to release the video, and I gave myself a deadline for it to, a release date for it. That's when it switched over. I considered that video was done. It just needed a little bit of final touch up. But there was a big problem with it, and pretty much it was completely erased. And I made that whole thing in a day. That whole video, not the writing part, but the rest of it. That whole video was made in a day. The Bloodborne videos were really, really bad. I don't really remember making the last half of the Bloodborne commentary. I don't really remember the DLC one. Those were made quite quickly. A problem that from doing that so much in the past, which is something that I saw recently on Discord, someone came in while the God of War video was in production, and they said something like, "Wow, the video's still not done. Remember when Joe played Fallout 4 and got a video on it in the same month? Remember that? What the fuck is he even doing anymore?" And there's some things to be said in response to that, which is like, okay, well, audio quality is a lot better, video quality is a lot better, the editing is a lot better, the script is it could be longer, might take more time, that sort of thing on the production side. But that's separate from the bigger issue, which is that I said in the second Fallout 4 video, Fallout 4 1 year later, that I don't really remember. I don't really remember November of 2015. You know, I talk about how it was my birthday that month, and I don't remember it. You know, it was my first birthday since becoming a father, which some people misunderstood that I was saying that I didn't remember Finn's birthday, but no, it was his birthday is not November. My birthday's in November, and I didn't remember my own birthday.
It was your 30th birthday.
Yeah,
it was a big one.
Yeah, I don't remember. I still don't remember it because it was just so intense on, you know, let's get the channel up and running. Let's get that video done, and it seems that for some people that's the standard now that I'm compared to instead of the exception. And I think this is a problem that is still going to have to be resolved at some point as the channel moves on, and hopefully it's not too bad, but I think it's going to be resolved in the next year, because like I said, I'm not crunching videos anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. It can't happen, and crunching what's going to be a 6-hour video for Witcher might not even be possible. But yeah, this is the problem going forward, is that, you know, I'm very happy and I'm proud that I was able to make so much content so quickly in the past, and that the channel grew so quickly. There are channels that I watched and I enjoyed a lot when I was first starting out, and I made it a point to watch a lot of other channels that you know, and talk to them and try to, you know, build some sort of a community. I never wanted to do any collaborations, but I still thought it was important to try and like talk to as many other channels as I could possibly do that, to get a feel for it, you know, like how is the YouTube scene, you know, going on, that sort of thing. But there were a lot of channels that when I started had 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 subscribers. You know, they were quite established, and that's when I started. And now I have almost 300,000, and a lot of those channels still aren't above 50K or 100K. So I'm proud, and I also recognize that I'm really lucky that the channel grew so quickly, and that there's a tangible result for how much work that I put into all those videos, and crunching and really pushing myself. And I would, if I could go back in time, I would do it again. I wouldn't change anything. But now there's going to be fallout when it's, okay, well, now I have 2 kids, and it's just not possible to do that anymore. You know, there's a certain limit to how long you can do that over years, and that pace was the exception, not the rule. And I think there's going to be some pushback for that. There's already been some pushback for that. There was a pretty shitty comment left on the God of War video. I've read all of them. There's a really funny one where the guy, I thought it was copy pasta, but it wasn't. Like this guy actually wrote out what looks to be like 500 words of just I fucking hate you, Joseph Anderson. Just like, he's so mad. He's so mad. Like, I really, when I hit, like, you hit the read more, and I was expecting it to be like end in a joke or a punchline, or, you know, it's one of that, what the fuck did you say to me? I'm behind 50 firewalls, you know, I'm a Marine, what the fuck you did, like that sort of level comment. But it wasn't. Like, it was all original content, and like, I really think he meant it too. He was so mad. Like, it went on for so long. But there was this other comment which was like, you know, and it was in response to something that's at the end of the video too. So he watched the whole thing. It's not like a troll, and he says something like, "Oh, well, you know, you say thank you to patrons and everybody and your viewers for you know, you got a house, and yet you rewarded them with 3 months of no content." And it's like, well, do you, like, I'm simultaneously kind of annoyed that, you know, if this is legit, if you just hate me and you're a troll, okay, that's fine. But if you actually are serious, I'm annoyed that someone like this could exist in the world. But I'm also kind of flattered at the same time that you think I made this video in 3 days. Like, what do you think I was doing for that time? You know what I mean? Like, it's So yeah, that's just an example of like some of the pushback that's gonna be there. I think we want Fisher, don't we? Do we want Fisher or Trapper? Let's look it up.
Well, again, also when you were doing all of those hours and crunching, right, at the beginning,
Yeah.
Finn was a newborn and he was sleeping all the time, and
that's something that people don't understand either. Yeah.
You know, newborns are hard work because they eat every 2 hours, and they, you know, at the beginning they're awake every 2 hours, you know, to eat. But once they get slightly bigger and their stomachs get a little bit bigger, they can go up more time without eating. They start sleeping for longer stretches, and they don't really do anything else. You know, they get up, they eat, you change them, they sleep, they get up, they eat again.
They poop.
That's what I change them. You know, like there's not much. You're not playing with them. They're not running around. They're not talking to you. They're not really doing anything at that age. You know, and so for the first, I don't know what, like 7-8 months, like that's pretty much. They start becoming more fun around 6, right? Like they start eating more, and they eat their jar, and you know, that kind of thing, right? But so Finn is like a whole little person now. Even Leo's becoming a whole little person now. You know, they're not little babies anymore that don't do anything. Yeah, they're not fun yet. It's they're cute and you can cuddle them a lot, but that's pretty much, you know, all that they do. So it was fine for me to do that while he was just working nonstop. But now, you know, like they ask for him.
It's also a lot more important right now to interact with it's going to be more important from now until ever to interact with them more, and they learn and you can see it like almost every single time that we sit down for some like concentrated, you know, like let's directly interact with Finn instead of just you know, it's not like we're having dinner or we're just all hanging out in the same room or something. That's indirectly interacting with Finn. But if we directly interact with Finn, he usually learns a new word or 2 or 3 or a new way of doing something. You know, like they get a lot out of it. And that takes up more time, and I'm glad to spend the time on that.
You don't want to miss it either. You know, like they're never going to be this age again. So if you're doing Bloodborne in Fallout 4 or whatever level work, you know, then you miss it too, and that's not fair.
But at the same time, most fathers will, and nowadays most mothers too, will be gone for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, while they go and maybe even more with commuting time. So,
which is fine, but when you're pulling like those crazy hours, you know, and you know,
but
that's not that. That's big time overtime.
The problem is that 40 hours a week isn't enough to make the big videos at the same pace that it was before. It just isn't. But we have some solutions for that will be rolling out soon. As for your question about video games, what do I think about crunch when it comes to the video game development? It's complicated. It's easy to just say, how many is it? 300? It's easy to just say, well, it's bad and it's awful, and how could video game developers do this? And, you know, CD Projekt Red especially is very notorious for working their employees quite hard, and they've been described as just never-ending crunch, you know, like that movie, The Never-Ending Story. It's just never-ending crunch, and that sounds awful, but I think Jason Schreier, as you brought up in the question, also makes the point that a lot of developers that work at these companies want to do the crunch, and it's something that they will do regardless of whether or not it's asked of them. And in the place where it's enforced, it's like crunch or be fired, or crunch or you don't get promoted or something like that, you know, that's one thing. But the impression that I get from a lot of these articles and that book was that they want to do it. They're very they're very invested, they're very motivated, and that's why CD Projekt Red can get away with it, because so many people want to work for CD Projekt Red right now, because they're like the hottest game in town, right? You know, like, it's holy shit. Like, there's no company that's bigger and also and has so much goodwill toward them from the gaming audience, right? Yeah, so knowing that, I have no idea what to think about it. I have no clue. I have no idea. It should be something that you should be easily condemn, but I can't. So I guess the best people to talk about it are video game developers themselves. I get the impression that Jason Schreier, even though developers do want to do it and say that they're invested and they're doing it voluntarily, I get the impression from him that he still thinks that it shouldn't be allowed, and that there should be efforts taken to prevent employees from doing this, and that maybe it's kind of like what is it when you're when you're in a hostage situation and you start rooting for the people that took you hostage. It's, I can't remember that term.
I can't think of it.
Something house syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. There we go. Home house. That's where I got. Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. You know, like, it's the developers like, yeah, I really want to do it, but, you know, do you really? Like, it's that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I know that if I'm ever fortunate enough to actually make good on what some ambitions and start making games, that if I ever do have a very small, modest video game company, that I would try to prevent crunch. But since learning that some developers and some employees want to do it, I've tried to put myself in that situation of like having employees coming in off hours or staying late and working themselves really, really hard. I put myself in that situation of, well, what the fuck would I say to them to make them not do it? And I don't know. I don't have an answer for that yet. You know, how do you tell someone, stop doing that work, please? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that simple. Maybe you just say no, and it's like it's not up for discussion. It's not up for debate. You just don't do it. But I don't know how that conversation would go. But that's my lack of managerial experience, I guess. But yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think that it's gonna last forever. And I think the bigger problem with the big video game companies is that they're not managed very well. One person made this game that we're playing right now. One person. A small team made Hollow Knight. A small team made The Messenger. A small team made Ori and the Blind Forest. And you can go on and on and on and on and on with a lot of other examples. Compared to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are working on the big AAA games. And are they that much better? I don't think so. Sometimes they don't even look nicer. So what's going on? Obviously, this game is not really that fair of an example because it's an outlier among outliers. But the other ones, yeah, I don't know. Something's definitely rotten in the state of game development, and I don't know enough to say if there's like going to be some big upheaval or some big crash coming or something like that, but it certainly feels like that. We're beginning to see a massive backlash that's actually working, instead of just people grumbling about it, against loot boxes and a shit ton of microtransactions. So what's going to happen in the fallout of that? Because there's no way that the companies are just going to eat the costs. Our video game prices going to go up significantly, or are they going to lower the dev teams? If that's the case, is that going to result in worse games because these big companies actually need those huge dev teams? I don't know. I'm reading Sapiens right now. I'm almost finished with it, and they talk about how human beings aren't really equipped to deal with social structures that are bigger than 100 people. At the point, this is really oversimplifying the point in the book, and you should read it because the book is really, really good. But it basically goes into detail about how you can process a community of 10 people quite easily. So you and 9 other people, and you know who you like, and you know how they feel about you, but you also know how the second person feels about the fifth person, and the seventh person feels about the 10th person, and who is sleeping with who hates who likes strawberries, who hates chocolate, that sort of thing. And it's going to get more difficult as the number grows, and the number grows, and the number grows, and it depends on how often you're interacting with these people. But by and large, that number of people that you can actually process caps out at about 100. And the book talks about companies too, and how companies have to structure themselves in quite strange ways when you really think about it and look at it, to function when you get above that number. And I just wonder if these companies just aren't doing that well, and they don't know how to do it. Because it definitely seems that once you get above that number, when you see video game developers, that it really feels like there's a huge diminishing return on those big dev teams. Are games made by 70, 80 people really that much worse than games that are made by 400 or 500? I don't think so. But yeah. Anyway, that's probably too much detail, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. Carlos had 2 more questions, right?
Mm-hmm. I've recently finished Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, and while I liked the whole mental health psychosis side of the game, I disliked its game side a lot. I said that right? While I liked the whole, yeah. Okay.
Yep, you did.
I thought maybe I said it backward. I think it could have been shorter, have way better puzzles, and the devs could have not even bothered with combat at all. What did you think about the game?
I liked it. You are right, though, and I agree with your points. The game part of it was quite lackluster. I really liked the presentation of the story. I don't really like the story much overall, although the ending was a lot more different than I expected it to be. A lot different than I expected it to be, and that surprised me. And it surprised me so much that I don't even know how I feel about it. So I don't know if I liked it or not. But at the end of the game, I was more, I was like, oh, okay, like that's how I felt at the end. And not many games or stories can do that for me. So I appreciate that, but I don't know if I liked it or not. The game was okay. The fights against normal enemies were pretty bad. The fights against some of the bosses were better, but there just wasn't enough. I speak about it in the God of War video. I really think God of War, the next one, needs something like a jump button, so some modifier on all the rest of the moves, and that's the same thing for Hellblade. Hellblade is a lot like God of War. I remember watching the God of War trailers and thinking, "Oh wow, this really looks like Hellblade." But God of War has much more, and it shows like how much Hellblade could have benefited from that direction. But I'm surprised that Hellblade even has that much gameplay, considering that it's more about the experience. So much work went into the audio in that, and it's probably the best audio I've ever had, ever experienced in a game ever. And I really recommend that you play. Well, I don't even recommend. If you cannot play Hellblade with out headphones, just don't even bother. Like get a decent pair of a decent headset or a decent pair of headphones if you're gonna play Hellblade. If you don't have that, just don't even launch the game, because you're missing out on what is really the whole point of it, I think. But yeah, the puzzles are pretty bad. The puzzles are perspective based, where you're looking for shapes and patterns in the world. You could argue that reinforces the theme of psychosis. I think that might be being charitable, even though I do think it's definitely intentional, but at the same time, there's too many of them. There are times when you're stuck in a room and you have to find 3 of them instead of just 1 or 2. And yeah, it's pretty annoying, and it's difficult to get around quickly as well. You're very stuck in place, again, very much like God of War. Yeah, I overall I'm positive, and I on it, and I like that it tried to do something new, and I'm happy that I played it. I almost made a video on it, but it seemed like everyone and their dog had made a video on it, and I watched some of them, and I figured that that there was nothing else to say, really. Usually I don't do that, but for some reason with Hellblade, I did, because there were a lot of videos that were coming out that were quite personal about it. Leonardo I can never say his name smoothly. Desidsi, fucking hell, I'm sorry. His video is probably my favorite on the game, and it was very personal to him, and it was very engaging. Shammy really liked that one too. I think Shammy said that's one of the best videos on YouTube. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything really interesting for me to say on that hasn't been said before, and inarguably better than I could say it at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Could you add more to the combat? Could you add more enemy variety? Could you add more moves? Could you have better puzzles? Sure, but is that the point? I don't know. At some point, you're going to add so much that it kind of waters the whole experience down a bit, and maybe it's better how it is right now, but I would have to play the other version to know for sure. If it was shorter, yeah, I don't know. I'm not completely convinced either way. There's so much combat in the game, and there are only a few times where it really feels like it's building with momentum. There's that part on the bridge, and you're like, holy shit, you know, like that was a really cool part. And if there was more to it, I think it would be stronger. So that's where I'm leaning toward right now, actually. That yeah, they should have put more effort into it, or more development time. Effort is a bad word. Hey, just seems my message got lost earlier. Just donated 14 USD through Patreon. I never get to catch the streams, but I've loved the Cringe Chronicles and Ass Eater VODs on YouTube. Thanks. You're very welcome, Devo. Thank you for the donation. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you liked my dumb jokes with the Cringe Chronicles and the Ass Eaters. Thank you so much. Did Carlos have a third question?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that, and then we'll take a couple from chat, because I see some people in chat asking some stuff.
Did you know Cory Barlog's father wrote a novelization of the new God of War game? What's your opinion on games having book adaptations? Once again, thanks for everything you do. Your God of War critique was awesome. I think it is your best work now, and you continue to inspire me a lot. I also hope the folks at Santa Monica Studios watch your new video. They seem to take a look at what people say of their games. Much love to you and Lily, and also happy birthday to Finn, whose birthday I'll never forget since it's one day before mine.
Thanks, Carlos. I know at least one person from Santa Monica Studios follows me on Twitter, and messaged me before the video was out. You know, when I was making it and playing the game, and we had a brief back and forth about that. I don't know if anyone else watches it or anything like that. I don't know. Some developers have watched some of the previous videos. off the top of my head, Prey, Hollow Knight, Edith Finch. There's a couple people from Blizzard that follow me on Twitter. I'm of two minds of that. It makes me a bit nervous. It makes me a bit, I always worry that I'm being too critical. I'm not being fair. I'm not being respectful enough. I do ultimately think that I am fair, but it's a fine line to walk where you let a game have your honest reaction and you okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna get up for a minute, but I can't.
Sure. Let me move a little bit.
Okay. You hear a crash? It's my laptop.
Anyway, sorry. It's a fine line to walk to sound like you're invested and actually engaged in the topic. So, you sound like I really feel strongly about this, that I'm using natural words. I'm saying like fuck or I sound a little angry or I sound excited or anything like that. When it's a good part about the game, it's like I'm really really into this, and when it's a bad part of the game, look I'm really disappointed. And it's a fine line between that and being disrespectful. Because there's a line in God of War where I say, like how the fuck did this make it into the game, and that's really mean. But at the same time, you want to be honest, because that was my honest thought. But sometimes honesty, saying, oh well, I'm being honest isn't a blank check to be a fucking asshole. So you do want to bring that back a little bit. But if you don't do that, then you can sound unengaged and boring, and that's the other part. So how do you get to be, I care about this topic and I'm really invested in it, and I'm excited about it, and I really care about this, and sometimes that's going to make me sound really happy, and sometimes that's going to make me sound kind of mad. And then the flip side of that is, well, if I don't do that, does he even like games? Does he even care? Why are you even making this video if you don't give a shit? Why are you so monotone about it? So that's the conflict between the two extremes. That's why I feel a bit anxious when I hear that, oh well, this person from this game company, they watched your video, that sort of thing, or they follow you. I didn't know that Barlog's father wrote the book. I did know there was a book because someone messaged me and said, hey, are you going to read this for the video, and there was a joke about how, you're going to postpone it again so you can read the book because it came out around the same time that the video came out. I didn't know it was his father that wrote it, though. That's interesting to me, that it's like it's in the family, but it's not the same guy that directed and presumably wrote a big chunk of the game, or most of the game. That's interesting to me. I wouldn't mind reading it just to see how that is. Novelizations of games. I don't think I've ever read one. I would be interested to try it out, but my guess is that it wouldn't be all that great. If it's a novelization or story that's set in the same world, okay, now I'm more interested, and I think that interested more as a reader instead of having just curiosity about how bad this could possibly be, because that's using it as a base, and you can have a lot more freedom. But a novelization of a video game story is going to be difficult, and I would be hesitant to try it myself because I don't think it can be pulled off quite very well. Video games are already kind of mangled to fit gameplay into them, right? So yeah, I don't know how that would work being adapted again from something that's kind of like an action movie into a video game, and then into a book after that. But yeah, I'd be curious to check it out. Does anyone in chat know a good novelization of a game? Maybe there's already one of them in there. There are light novels of the Danganronpa universe. The Halo novels are pretty good. The WoW books. I have a friend that's read some of the WoW books, and he says that they vary in quality, but some of them are okay. I've heard good things about the Halo universe, actually, yeah. I'm not really actively playing the game, by the way, if you didn't come here until later on. This is just kind of a background, kind of wandering visual while I'm answering questions. The Q&A comes first, and I'm only paying like a fraction of the attention I usually would to the game. I have no real plan or anything that I'm doing. There are Guild Wars books, really? Have I read the Metro books? No, but those came first, right? Wasn't it a book first, then a video game? I think we're talking more about video game first, then book. Yeah, they were. Bionicle novel. Nah, there's not many in chat. Yeah. Hope that's okay, Carlos. I should get the God of War book. See what it's all about. All right. Any questions from chat? And then we'll move on to the next Patreon question.
Thank you to Ozar99 who resubscribed for 2 months and says, "I missed you, Joe."
Thank you, Ozar99. Thank you. I missed you too. Would you be willing to play a short 1 hour or so fan game inspired by you on stream? What? Would you be willing to voice act, or would you rather have the lines unspoiled? If you're serious, message me on Discord and we can talk about it. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, we can talk about it on Discord. Oh, Ozar, and I missed you too.
Thank you, Ozar. Missed you too. Have you heard of 2 smaller games called Unravel and Oxenfree? If you have you played them, and any brief thoughts?
Unravel and Oxenfree?
Mm-hmm.
Unravel is the one where you're a ball of yarn man, right? I have it. I needed a visual for a throwaway line in a video. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was one of the joke ones. And I knew that game existed, and I got it just for that, to have a visual on the screen, because I'm not obsessive about having some sort of visual match. I haven't played it. It looked okay. The controls were a little bit off when I was playing it. I think that's the right game. I'd like to get to try it at some point, but there's like hundreds of games that are in that category of I would like to try it at some point, but I don't know if I'm gonna have the time. Oxenfree is another one of them, but I'm more interested in Oxenfree because I've heard good things about the dialogue system in that game, that you can interrupt conversations and stuff, and the game reacts to it. I think that's the one that looked interesting.
Someone's asking Cyberblade 42 about if you have any advice about York. We haven't been to York in a long time. Joe hasn't been to York in
more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't been in 5 or 8 or something like that now. So anything we could probably tell you is probably outdated now. I don't even know like if they've changed any of it, right? Like it's been so long now.
Yeah. Sorry. You can't really tell you anything. Likely.
If you're new, learn your classes, where they are and what buildings, because it's a pretty spread out campus, and in the winter you'd freeze. So.
All my professors were really old too, so my guess is that they've retired by now. They looked close to it when I was there. Let's go get a tree. I want to plant a tree for fall.
Do you prefer the easy handling of a soft shell taco or the satisfying crunch of a hard shell taco?
Soft shell for me. I don't really like the hard shell. As satisfying as it might be, I find that when you bite into a hard shell, there's a chance that the whole thing might shatter and break apart, and then you have hot taco all over your hands, which, you know, sounds hot and all, but, you know, not really for me.
I like a hard taco shell.
I know you do.
And if you haven't tried the ones that are with cheese, what are they called?
Nacho blasted.
Okay,
Cheese blasted.
You have to try them. They're so amazing. That tacos were one of my favorite meals always. Like always one of my top, I don't even know, but top 7 or something favorite. It was tacos. This has been life-changing for me. Okay? This is just like, I don't even know. I can't go back. Okay? So if you haven't tried them, you have to try them.
When they were new, when they first came out, Lily liked them so much that when I went, this was like over a year ago, I think. When I went to the store, I bought like 8 of them just in case they were going to be discontinued because they were so new.
And I checked, and they had them on Amazon.com. So if we ever have to, we could always import them from the U.S.
Soft shell sounds like a Weird Al parody of soft cell. I'm more of a burrito person than a taco person, though.
Quesadillas are okay. Not my favorite, but I've never had a good one.
Have I ever had a quesadilla?
No, you haven't. We used to make them at work, and that was like pathetic, you know, amateur stuff. So I would really like to try one as a. It's like a soft, like not like a tortilla, like a burrito shell. It's more like a thinner kind of baked, and it has stuff inside it, and then you like put like tomatoes and green onions on top, and then you dip it in salsa or sour cream.
What
Usually
about?
They have like chicken or something. We made ours with chicken.
They recommend that you double wrap your burritos so they don't spill over, right? What if you wrapped a soft shell around a hard shell?
Then your ratio would be all messed up because then you wouldn't have enough meat or cheese or whatever.
That's the safety net, right?
Better, I would prefer to have a bite of one and then a bite of the other. Lucid Streamer says, I'm very proud of you as a Mexican, Lily. Gracias.
Were you cheering for the Leafs when you lived in Toronto? How did you feel about Tavares joining the team? I don't follow hockey at all, sorry. I never got into spectating sports because we moved around so much that, you know, in Britain, football is the big one, or soccer, as you guys say. You know, just assuming everyone here is American, as the Canadian that I am. And in Canada, it's all about hockey. But in Wales, it's all about rugby. So no matter where you go, it's this mix of it's all. And it didn't really interest me all that much, but moving killed any chance of me, you know, moving back and forth so much killed any chance of me being able to really get into it. And I regret that because it looks like fun, having a team and following the team, and a lot of nerds that I've known have always been like, oh, how can people really like fucking sports and all this shit? And I have said that a few times in the past myself. I will admit to that, but that was wrong of me, and I wish that I had got into it because it seems fun.
I used to watch when I was younger, and when I was in high school, my parents had it on every playoff. And they would get really into that in the winter and baseball in the summer. And I remember I really liked Horson, was his name?
Where should we plant our apple tree?
Not too far.
Should we plant it right here?
Yeah, that's a good spot.
That's a good spot. Should we plant it next to Makoto?
Okay.
Will it plant here? Will it grow here? Because these are green. Does that matter? I don't know. Let's do it here, right? Because then it's got, yeah.
I don't know if you should plant it near Makoto though.
Why?
Well, because you say that she's useless, right? So like, will there be any nutrients there for the tree to flourish?
Do you think she's gonna piss on the tree?
Well, if you call her useless, maybe.
Useless. Wait. Useless? Useless?
Cheer for the Calgary Flames. Wrong direction. Someone asked before, what are your thoughts on Reykjavik? Favorite video? Have you ever personally talked to him?
I don't know if I've spoken to Reykjavik. I can't remember. I know that's bad to say that, but I've spoken to a lot of people. I think maybe he was on the Discord server very briefly, and maybe I had a back and forth with him. I can't remember. I'm not sure. I have nothing but good things to say about Reykjavik, though. I really like his videos. He's very concise. He's very informative. I like his presentation. Yeah, he's good. I like Reykjavik. But like I've said during this Q&A, and I think the last one too, I haven't had time to watch a lot of people's videos recently, and I have a lot of catching up to do. I have so much catching up to do that I don't know if I'm ever actually going to catch up, because I need to scramble on my own next stuff as well. But yeah, I have nothing but nice things to say about Reykjavik. I like him a lot.
Thank you for introducing me to games like Bloodborne, Hollow Knight, and New Vegas. Are there any other games you'd recommend that you haven't talked about much before?
Oh wow, really? I'm not sure. I think most of the ones that I want to recommend I've already said. I'm assuming that you've tried Neo, and after Bloodborne you went with the Souls games. You might want to try some of the Platinum games. I'm getting into them myself recently. My only kind of foray into those kind of games previously were the Devil May Cries. I know that, it's not fair to call them that, but they're in the same kind of area, and I've been enjoying them quite a bit. So you might want to look into Bayonetta or Metal Gear Rising. I hear really great things about the Wonderful 101, and I would like to try that at some point too. Vanquish is also on my list. I like to play them all. I don't think I have any other hidden gems that I haven't spoken about before. Yeah, sorry, I can't really give you a good answer to that.
Carlos, we just answered your questions. You're the first one we did. So if you're looking for those, we just did them. Somebody asked a few times and I keep missing it. I believe it was the Book Thief. Have you ever read The Book Thief? It's their favorite book.
No, I've never heard of it. Sorry.
And thank you to the Tea Enthusiast who used 400 bits and says Jack Ryan sends his regards.
Thank you.
Like your name.
We're getting a bunch of Jack Ryan bits today, which I hear the show's bad, which is a shame because I like John Krasinski, but I like his wife even better. if you know what I mean. Lily, are you gay for blunt?
Of course.
Yeah.
Is that too blunt of me? Thank you to Cuckstone who subscribed.
Thank you very much, Cuckstone.
And thank you to Gonchick who subscribed with Prime.
Gonchick?
Gonchick.
Gonchick. Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to Prime Time. This will be the last one before we go back to Patreon. Someone's asking in chat, have I heard of, and have I played Enter the Gungeon? I think that was it. Yeah, I've played it a lot. I've put over 100 hours into Enter the Gungeon. It was my second favorite game, I think, of the year that it came out. I think that was it 2015 or 2016? I can't remember. It was the same year that Fury came out. Can't remember. Yeah, I love Gungeon. I love it. We almost played it tonight instead of this, but I figured I was a little too tired, and Gungeon requires more of your attention, and it had some big changes I haven't played yet, so I guessed it wasn't a good idea. But yeah, I love Gungeon. It's one of my favorite games. I don't mean like of recent times. I mean it's just straight up one of my favorite games. I love Gungeon.
Clogs like my joke. That's some real praise there, right? Coming from the pun master himself.
That's like the Pope thinking that you're holy, right?
Exactly. some more. Ben L says, "Hey Joe and Lily, hope you're both doing fantastic along with the kids.
Hey, Ben.
Longtime patron, but the first time I'm actually utilizing this benefit.
Ooh.
Here are my questions.
Pressure.
Do you have any particular tips about writing critiques, and what do you think is the best strategy to write a concise, not that you do, but informative review? I know that's technically 2 questions, but I only used 1 question mark. That's how it works, right?"
Mm-hmm. I've spoken a lot in depth before, and I don't want to go into it again on this particular topic because it's usually my go-to advice, and I think I've said it too many times in past Q&As. But I will briefly mention that the core of anything to do with criticism or reviews or anything, really communication itself is being able to explain and really comprehend what you yourself feel. And a part of that is, when it comes to criticism specifically, is knowing, what do I like, what do I not like, and the really important part is to not stop there, but also to dig deeper and find out why. And I think it was Feynman. I think it was Richard Feynman. I'm not sure. Now I'm down to myself, and I don't think it was. But let's just say it was him. It was someone at that level. Said something to the effect of, if you think you understand something, but you can't explain it to somebody else who knows nothing about the topic, you can't make them understand, then you don't understand it yourself. That's the mark of whether or not you truly understand something or not. I'm starting to think to be more sure that it wasn't Feynman, but Feynman was great, so let's just say it was him. So that's what you really need to get down. Being concise is a matter of editing more often than not. You want to get all your points down, because if you try to write a perfect draft your first time, not only is it going to take way longer than if you wrote multiple drafts and then edited on, and then improved. It's also going to be an exercise in frustration, and you're going to get very annoyed, and the chances of you getting sick of the project and just going, I'm done with this, are really, really high. Many people don't understand that what I do is I don't write essays. I think some people don't get that, and I often see feedback. Why doesn't Joe have clear thesis statements? Why doesn't Joe have? Why does Joe use? Refers to himself, and why is he informal so often? Because they're not essays. It's just me talking about games. Not that essay is not a strictly defined term, unfortunately. Many articles will sometimes be classified as essays. You'll find a lot of arguments about what is or what isn't an essay. The other thing is that it's going to depend on what you are trying to write. If you're writing a script, well, then it has to sound like a conversation. It has to be a little more casual because you are talking to an audience, and I look at what the videos are as closer to a presentation rather than a paper. So each video is basically just a recording of me on an imaginary stage, with the video evidence being the slides that I would have to go through. That's how I view them. And in that area, you have different goals and you have different tools and rules than a written essay. But being concise is going to be a matter of editing more often than not, in my opinion. It's not that hard to whittle your points down. It gets hard when you are trying to still make it flow naturally and sound smooth. It's also difficult to often cut a line that you really, really like, or a section that you really, really like. This is the same for writing fiction. It can be quite difficult. I think Joss Whedon said that he often finds that if a story isn't working, and he just can't get it out properly, that more often than not, it's because he's trying so hard to save and preserve this favorite scene that he had written in the middle of it. And once he cut that, suddenly it started working again, because he was too fixated on the scene being the most important thing instead of the whole story. In his case, it would probably be the whole script, right? The whole movie or the whole episode of the TV show. So you'll have points, and you will have a paragraph where you explain one thing, and it depends on the kind of structure that you're going for. My scripts are usually a kind of stream of consciousness thing, where I will have this point that leads into this point, leads into this point, and I will try and move between them all the time. Some people hate that. Some people think that it's too chaotic. They think it's just rambling, when in reality a ton of work goes into that effect, and it's on purpose, it's deliberate. That's why I spend so much time editing and refining the scripts, is because I want there to be that flow. I want it to sound natural, and I don't want the viewer to really notice when we've moved on to another topic. I want them to be thinking as the minutes go by, oh wow, it's 20 minutes already, oh wow, it's already been half an hour. That's what I want. I want the viewer to be in a flow state, as in the same way that the script is in a flow state. Whittling that down is going to be a lot harder than if you are doing a very structured script or a structured paper, where you have, argument, support of the argument, next argument, support of that argument, and so on for the whole thing, because then it's much more contained, and you can go through it and think, okay, well, I said this in 200 words. Is this sentence really necessary? Is this word really necessary? Can I cut down on this connecting piece here? Am I over explaining this? Do I really need this piece of evidence? And that's where a lot of it will become a judgment call, and it can be difficult. I often get it wrong myself. Like how do you know when something is really necessary? And I think most people are probably thinking right now, well, what are you doing, dog? Oh, it's you. It's my dog. It's my dog.
Apologize to her.
You're usually the good dog. It's my dog. I think most people are probably thinking right now, yeah, you usually get it wrong because you keep it in, but that's not actually the case. There have been plenty of times where I've cut something out and I've ended up regretting it. And I think that's why the videos are tending to be a bit longer lately, although I got burned most recently with Subnautica, which is because usually when I cut something out, and I think usually to myself, this isn't that important of an example, I don't really need it, or this is a point that I think most people are just going to get, and it'll be inferred from the rest of the points that are happening. And then the video goes up and I read the comments, and there's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 comments all saying the same thing, and I'm there, fucking fuming, going, fuck, they're all saying that thing that if I'd left that point in, it would have been addressed. You know what I mean? Like, it happened with Subnautica most recently, like I said. So that's where it becomes a judgment call, and it's difficult. Yeah, the rules are definitely different for nonfiction. Chuck Palahniuk says this about this is one of the most important pieces of writing advice that I ever read, and it sticks out in my mind, and it is something that I always keep in my head whenever I'm writing fiction, and that is, and so many big writers have this problem. Once you notice it, if you agree with it, you'll see it everywhere, even in really, really good fiction. And that is that many writers will open a paragraph with a thesis statement, and these thesis statements, these thesis statement paragraphs, as Palahniuk describes them, are basically that the writer will open a paragraph with Jessica got up and got ready for work, right? And then after saying Jessica got up and got ready for work, they will then go on to describe her getting up and going to work. They will then after that say she went to the bathroom, she peed, she brushed her teeth, she went downstairs, she got her coffee ready, she drank her coffee. They've already said the information in a summary at the beginning of the paragraph, and then they go on to elaborate it with more detail. And in almost every case, the whole paragraph would be immediately and vastly improved if they just literally cut out the first sentence. They don't have to change anything else. They just have to cut out the first sentence. And once you notice that, and you see writers do it all the time, there's probably cases of me doing it in my books, because sometimes you just don't notice. It's like wow, like this could be just dramatically improved if they just cut that line out completely. And that's fiction. When it comes to nonfiction, you want those statements. Those are important statements, because you're not there to entertain people, you're there to convey information. And if there are ever times that you can cut that out, then great, but more often than not, you want to be direct, and you want that to be left in. And that's one of the biggest differences between fiction and nonfiction. So long answer is what I just gave you. Short answer is a fuck ton of editing. Just edit, refine, edit. If you're not on a strict timeline with it, the best advice that you can follow, which isn't mine, I read this somewhere else, is to put what you've written or what you've wrote into a drawer, or just close the Word file on your computer, go do something else for weeks or months, however long you can, go write something else. And then you'll get into a cycle of you always have something that you're coming back to while you're always writing something else, and read it a couple months later, or at least a couple weeks later, after you've forgotten a lot of what you have written, and see it with fresh eyes like that. And that's one of the best things you can do if you're not on a strict timeline. If you are on a strict timeline, someone else has to read what you wrote. There's no way around it. Someone else has to.
Read it out loud.
Yeah, and you should read it out loud. Yeah. Should always read it out loud. Even if it's not something that's a presentation, you should always read it out loud. Because whenever you read something and you stumble, and it's not you that's stumbling because you're tired, or because you're not used to pronouncing that word, like that happens to me a lot when I'm reading things on stream. If you're stumbling over and over again, not because of you, but because of the section of writing, you need to make a change. That's one of the easiest indicators that you need to change something. I think that's it. Also, just I want to say this just for me, more than an answer for your question. So sorry if this is indulgent, but maybe someone else will get something out of this. There's a part that I really liked at the end of there's an afterward part in Fahrenheit 451 where Bradbury talks about how a lot of classic literature is being edited as it's being re-released in anthologies, and where a lot of these re-releases are for making money, and they're trying to cram in as much as they possibly can on the cheapest pages and the smallest font, and how many stories and books can we cram into these paperbacks, and the result of this is that many words get cut and the original text gets butchered. This made me quite worried actually when I read this, because I don't know how many things that I've read that are not really how the author intended. How many have been edited posthumously? Is that say right? Humously. How many things have been edited that drastically that it's not even in their voice, and their voice is important. He goes on to say that Dickens starts to sound like Hemingway, sounds to start like Faulkner. They all start to sound the same because the same kind of stylistic word choices that a lot of these writers go with, whether they favor commas or semicolons, for example, or hyphens. Those get cut to save space, to save precious, ink, and if you do that on every page, then you can cram in a couple extra pages, and that's more money and that's more profit, because you can get more and more stories and more words on the page. There's something to be said about not always being as concise as you possibly can be. If that comes at the cost of you sounding like everybody else, then maybe you should rethink that. the goal of writing anything is not to say it in the least amount of words as possible, although that is definitely a consideration. The goal of writing is to convey something, whether that's information or an emotion or an experience or anything else that you can think of. And there's something to be said about having it in your own voice and your own style, and don't be afraid of that. Like everything, it's a balance, and there's always going to be counterpoints, and this obsession that a lot of people have with efficiency of communication is not something that I agree with, obviously, if you've ever watched one of my videos.
Yeah, but your writing,
or if you're listening to this,
book-wise, was very different.
Yeah,
Your book writing,
my fiction is very direct. Yeah.
And I like that so much that I started doing it now. When I'm writing, I used to be more long-winded and longer sentences and stuff. And I find now that I kind of get more across, and it kind of makes a bolder statement if it's a shorter sentence, and so I've kind of from editing a lot of your stuff, my style has changed a little bit, so it's funny now that it's the opposite. I
think the books are probably direct to a fault. Like it's with the scripts, I definitely think that I could work on being a bit more concise, but not as much as many people think. But then most of the people that tell me that I need to be more concise, and that you could definitely have cut an hour from this video, didn't even watch it, but I think with the fiction, it's the opposite problem, that I could elaborate a little bit more.
It's just my preference, I guess. I thought it made more of an impact with when you had shorter sentences and they were more punchy, because they had my attention more than if you had to drag them out.
It's a good thing I wrote all the plot points down for all the stories, because I'm forgetting them now. Good thing I have like all those Bibles of plans upstairs.
You could only keep so much at one time.
Yeah. Anyway, next question.
I know you mainly listen to whatever's catchy. Does that include any hip-hop? As a writer, I was wondering what you thought of artists like Kendrick Lamar, who tell stories through their music. If you've not heard any, then I'd suggest the tracks The Art of Peer Pressure and Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst.
I haven't listened to much Kendrick Lamar. What I have sounded pretty good. I'm not really into hip-hop, but not for any particular reason. It's just not something that I'm exposed to a lot. But I'm not exposed to much new music at all, really. This is something that I've always struggled with, and I'm gonna die. I don't really know. Shit, we died. I don't really know how most people find new music. I think we're gonna restart. A weeaboo? A weeaboo, wake up. I found you unconscious in the mines. You're lucky I happened to pass by. Be a little more careful next time, okay? I've forgotten everything about the last 9 levels of mine. I also seem to have lost 300 GP and 4 items from my backpack. I think we're gonna restart because of that. Yeah, let's just restart. It's not worth it. I don't really know how do people find new music?
Spotify, apparently.
Because like, I used to find new stuff on the radio, but if I was gonna listen to the radio, I'd probably listen to just more generic music that comes out all the time. Before that, I found new music and new bands from other people that were listening to those bands, and they would recommend it, and I would like it, and I'm like, oh, cool, this is a cool band. That's how I would find them. But I don't know how they're finding them. You know what I mean? Unless it's just kind of word of mouth all the way through. It's turtles all the way down. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really listen to that much hip hop. I gravitate more to rock music than anything else. Although I do have a guilty pleasure of pop music. Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you have anything to say about that?
Lately, It's those mixes that YouTube makes, on their playlists that they make for you,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll sneak in some songs that I haven't heard. So I'll leave it running, and I'll go do something, and usually it'll have to play like 3 or 4 times before I actually really absorb what I'm listening to, and I'll go, oh, what is that? And I'll go looking for it. But I found a few new songs recently. I don't remember who they're by now, really, but that's how, I was exposed to them in the first place. It was kind of an accident.
That's a special form of hell, isn't it? When you hear a song on the radio or on YouTube, and you don't. I used to get so mad. Yeah, and you don't know what it is, but you only know one misheard lyric. So you're googling, what is it? What the fuck is it? What's that song?
I used to go into the bathroom stall at work, and I would sneak in there when I was supposed to be doing my job, and be googling the song lyrics that I think I heard, but I wasn't even sure if I heard it because it was stuck in my head and it was looping, and it would come on like 4 or 5 times a day, and I could never get past the chorus, what they were saying. And some of it was really, really awful songs too. They were really shitty music. But I would be just completely hung up on it until I could figure out. I remember I burst out of the bathroom one day and I was so excited because I'd worked out what it was, and everyone was just staring at me. There's like 6 coworkers there looking at me like, what the hell's your problem? I was so happy. It had been like a week of trying to find this song, and I finally figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube suggested LSD. The band, which is everyone probably knows Sia because she's pretty big for songs that she she admits herself she just shits out, and there was a song called Thunderclouds by them, and I really like that song right now. I've been listening to that a little bit, but yeah, I'm not really I don't know, like I'm not good at finding new songs. Yeah. Was there another part to the question? Because I feel like I'm focusing on the the hip hop part, and that's made me think, how do I find new music?
Just about Kendrick Lamar and what you think about the stories that he tells through music.
Oh, so stories through music. Not the biggest fan of it, actually. I don't know. Usually I don't pay attention to lyrics until like maybe the 10th or even 20th listen of a song. Like when I listen to it, I just kind of get the actual instrumental part of it, and the vocals are a part of that for me. It's just noise at that point, but it's a good kind of noise. I don't really pay attention. Sometimes that's ruined a song for me, is that which is kind of weird to think about. I never really thought about that before. That you will listen to a song and you'll like it, and then suddenly one day one of the lyrics will kind of click into comprehension for you, and then you'll be like, oh well, I don't like that they just said that, and oh, now the song is completely different to me, and now I think it's about this, and that reminds me of this memory I have or this person that I knew, and now suddenly I don't really like it that much anymore. Like that.
The opposite for that. I'm self-absorbed. I make all the songs about me, so I hear a lyric that had nothing to do with whatever I'm thinking it's about, but now it means something to me now, and now I like the song even more because of that one.
I think most people like that though.
That one lyric.
They
if I can't do that, I actually like the song less. If it doesn't have even just one line in it that I can make something up out of it. It's funny that you're the opposite for that, but you've said that about a few songs actually that I liked, and then you heard part of it, and then you didn't like it as much after that because you realized, like the Florence song, and you didn't like it so much after that. You thought it was too personal this time instead of her older stuff, right?
Which song?
Hunger.
Yeah.
Remember you said it was more of a personal album this time. Like it was more story forward this time, and you prefer more.
I prefer Florence when she's
just more epic and
and mystical.
Less
and
personal.
Yeah. I do prefer that. Yeah. Where sometimes you have to wonder what the fuck they're singing about, right? Like,
but that's okay. Sometimes I don't think they know either. So
I think the only big story song that I like a lot, and it's pretty cheesy, admittedly. Actually, it's not pretty cheesy; it's really cheesy. Is "The Count of Tuscany" by Dream Theater, and that tells the story, and it's a true story apparently of one of the band members that thinks he's got abducted by the the person that that Hannibal Lecter was based off of while he was visiting Italy, and yeah. And I like that, but it is pretty cheesy. A lot of their music is cheesy, actually, but I still quite like it.
Last question from Ben. How do you avoid burnout? Either on playing video games or making the videos. Yours go on for so long that I'm amazed you don't give up halfway through a 3-hour video, or at least slow down to the production due to fatigue. It's really impressive, honestly. Sorry for my bad English. It's only my first language.
You've watched the other Q&As. Okay.
Keep doing what you're doing. You work so incredibly hard, and I hope you know how many of us truly appreciate that. Ignore the rest. You're the best game critic on YouTube and a constant inspiration for me. So thank you, Lily. You're pretty great too. So keep that up.
Thank you so much. That was so much praise. I'm a little uncomfortable, and that's
Thank you, Ben.
that means that that was really nice. Thank you. I just spoke about earlier how I'm not doing crunch anymore, but that's not because of burnout. That's because it's too. Okay, there's a difference between. To me, there's a difference between burnout and being exhausted or being tired. Burnout is, even after you get a good night's sleep and you take a short break, you're still like, you know what, I've had enough of this. Burnout is more kind of going off in a huff, right? Is like, fuck this, I'm sick of this, and I want to do something else for a significant amount of time. Whereas just having fatigue and needing a break is just, well, that's just normal. I'm tired. I need to do something else for a little bit, and then I'll be right back to it. That's how I view those things. I haven't burnt out on a video or the channel at all. I think I veered close to burning out on streaming with Persona 5. I think I was getting really close to that. But I just powered through it because I felt like I had committed enough time to it, and I owed it to myself and everyone watching to finish. It had nothing to do with the game. It had everything to do with the schedule that was becoming quite taxing at the time, and that was really getting to me toward the end. I think most people could tell around stream 20 or so. It was really getting to me. That's for streaming though. I've never gotten close to burnout for the channel videos. I've definitely got burnout on video games, for sure. Sometimes specific video games. I've burned out on WoW a crap ton. And just video games in general. They're, I think everyone's been there if they've played games for more than a few years. You come home and it's usually your biggest hobby, and you come home and you stare at your Steam list or your, if it's even more back in time, you look at your big stack of Super Nintendo games or your N64 games or your PlayStation cases, and you just look at them and go, I should play a game, and you're just like you're so burnt out, it's too much work to get up and put the game in the console, or it's too much work to even install the game on Steam and make sure that it's set up properly, because that's how you're not lazy. It's just that's how burnt out you are. You just don't give a shit. And in that case, it's just go do something else. Like go enjoy some other hobby that you have. If this is your inside time, it's like if you have your outdoor activities or your community activities, social with friends, and this is your solitary inside time, then read a book or watch TV or a movie or something else, like teach yourself a skill or just do something else that's on your own in that time. That's how I would suggest that. I think once you get burnt out, I think you're done. There's no coming back from it. You think you disagree?
That's how I write. I write like a crazy person.
Yeah, but you can't.
But then I don't touch it for months.
That's what I mean. Like,
I won't go near it, and I have no desire to touch it, and then it'll kind of start creeping back in. Then I'll start thinking about it a little bit, or I'll see something, or I'll hear something, and I'll start thinking of like increasingly I'll be thinking about it until I get this burning, like, I have to write right now kind of. And then even then, I'll usually wait like another week or so and like really like so much anticipation now that I really want to write. Like I'm just obsessing over it, and then I'll just go at it again for like another month.
But you
then I won't touch it again.
But you didn't force yourself out of the burnout. It had to run its course. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. Yeah, you can't force it back after that.
But I kind of made it work for me in a weird way. Like I don't really mind it so much, and I'm kind of like that with a lot of things. I'll read a lot of books, then I won't read for a while. Then I was playing Stardew and stuff. Then I don't touch it. You know, like
my guess
I'll watch
is
movies,
that
then I won't.
most writers are like that. That's why writers take so long to make their books. You know, some writers have epic burnouts that they don't touch that project, and they'll go and write something else. You know, like look at Martin, what Martin's doing with Game of Thrones. You know, like that's burnout.
I just find I really, really enjoy when I'm into it, but then I kind of enjoy when I'm out of it. You know, like I kind of need the break from it. Like I can't be that much all the time, because when I'm working on it, it's all I can think about. You know, it's just I'm excited to get back to it all the time, but then I'll have my down period where I'll go do something else. You know, and that's okay. The books take longer, but so what? You know, like it's. I prefer that than just forcing myself to sit there and just, pulling teeth the whole time and doing it just because I have to do it. And okay, it would get done. And if that's your end goal, then fine. If you just need to get it done, you have a deadline, then okay, you can force yourself through it. But I wouldn't enjoy it the same. So, yeah, that's just what works for me. Maybe not for you.
I don't really know why I haven't burned out from the channel with all the crunching. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's really exciting to have a new video day when you put something out and there's a huge response to it. That's really enjoyable. Maybe it's because it's varied. It's not just writing is writing. Even if you're planning, even if you're editing, you're still writing. Whereas with the video, it's you pick a project, you play the game, you think about it, you write about it, you edit, then you record audio, and then you edit the audio, which I hate, but it's still something different. Then you're doing the video, and then after that, it's community management stuff, and then you're back on to pick next project, and the cycle starts all over again.
But when we were writing, when we were self-publishing, and there was an audience, and I was getting emails about it, and I was getting good reviews, and I was more motivated to write. You know what I mean? I had people who were interested in it, people who would read what I was going to say. So that was definitely a factor for me too. That it made me feel a bit of a push. That I wanted to get on that, even if I wasn't really feeling it today. I wanted the feedback. So that can be very powerful too if you have someone there. That's going to give you that. That feedback and that motivation.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's what you get from the videos, right? That you have an audience there waiting, for your next work. So it's, it's a bit of a kick in the ass to not, take your time with it, right? To always be working on something. If you were just making them for you, maybe you would have burned out by now. You wouldn't still be doing it.
Yeah. Treating it like work is also a good way, because it's like most people get sick of work, but you can't really burn out on your job, right? Because you have to do it. Sorry.
I think that was it, right? Yeah. That's it for Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Hope they were decent answers. Let's take one or two questions from chat, and then we'll continue on with Patreon questions.
We have some people to thank too. Thank you to John Cody 1713 who subscribed with Prime.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Prime Time.
And thank you to, maybe it's German, Meru ist gut.
Mero is good.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much.
maybe.
Maybe. Sounds good to me.
Who resubscribed for 11 months. Sorry if I messed that up, but that's what it looks like.
They're used to me getting it wrong all the time. Don't worry. Someone's saying which game would you like to see voted by patrons? That would be cheating because many people would then go and vote for it because I said so. So I'm not going to answer that, sorry. But obviously there are some games that people suggest that are on my list that I don't want to win, and there are the ones that I would like. Yeah, I'd like that to win. You know, so yeah. But I can't answer, sorry, because it'll spoil the poll. I feel like I should have had. Oh, there it is. Route program. Investigate the thing. We didn't go and do that. I think we restarted because of the resolution problem. That's what happened. Let's water the plants.
If I bought you one of those breast anime girl mouse pads, which character would you want?
2B, of course.
Have you ever checked out the Malazan book of the Fallen series? I know you mentioned that you don't like fantasy that much because so much is based on Lord of the Rings, so I thought you might like Malazan as it's pretty far removed from that. Not for everyone, though.
No, I don't think I've ever heard of that. If you want to send me a link on Discord, I can check it out later. I have a big stack of books that I need to get through and before I get some more. But, yeah, I know. But, yeah, I'm always looking to add some more to the list. I'd like to read some more obscure fantasy. I think I would enjoy it. Someone suggested an interesting sounding series, but I can't remember what it's called. I have it on a list somewhere.
Broseph Anderswol, how much you bench, bruh? I messed that up.
I bench your
how
mom.
How much you bench, bruh?
Your mom, bro. However much your mom weighs, that's how much I bench. Nah, I don't
About
even.
60 pounds, right?
I don't even lift. I don't even lift.
That's a lie. If you had one in each arm. They're getting pretty heavy now.
How do you feel about dialogue on later playthroughs of games? Thankfully, New Vegas allows you to skip it, just like Mass Effect, for example, but do you feel it eliminates part of the enjoyment of a game if you skip through things like dialogue and cutscenes or optional areas, to name a few? Yeah, this is it's a really interesting problem, and I don't know the answer to that, but I'm definitely there, and if there's ever a part of a game that isn't all that fun or it's not the reason why you're playing it again, yeah, you want to skip through it. What are you doing, dog? A lot of older RPGs and the older Zeldas are full of a lot of things you would just want to skip through, and it can be really infuriating. Mario 64. Stop it. Sorry. Mario 64 only has a very short introduction section when, you know, Princess Toadstool Peach is reading her letter, and even that is just so infuriating when you just want to get started and play the game. Watching speedruns of that is just so annoying, and I don't understand how speedrunners that speedrun Sunshine can stand it, because Sunshine is so much worse. There's just this huge introduction period to it. I don't know, that sort of thing. I wish that the running community would just, especially games that are run on emulators, not that those are, but they can be. I wish they would get together and just find a way to cut all that shit out and and make it so much easier to watch. I remember a long time ago, I was watching a Dark Souls speedrunner, and he was going through the game until he got to Undead Parish, and if he didn't get the Ultra Black Knight Greatsword, he would restart the run. And it was a 25% drop rate, I think, whether or not he got it. And it was integral to the run. If he didn't get it, he needed to restart. So even if he did it perfect, the whole run up to that point perfectly, there was only a 1 in 4 chance of him being able to continue the run. It might be a little higher than I can't remember. And I said to him in chat, and he actually answered, because he was a smaller speedrunner. I said, "Don't you think this is kind of dumb? Why don't all the speedrunners just agree to have, a hacked version of the game or a save file or something, some sort of system in place that you don't have to rely on this RNG bullshit just to get the run started?" And he replied and said, no, that wouldn't be a good thing. This is like part of the process and part of the run. And I don't think I fully understand speed running because or I didn't fully understand it back then, because he's probably right. At the same time, as much as it could be a slippery slope of, let's just get rid of all the RNG. If we do it for one thing, we should do it for the rest. I do think that there could be something said for removing it very, 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 very early on in the run like that. But then again, if you're willing to do that, then suddenly it's like, okay, well, there's this 1 in 100 chance thing at the beginning, and I'm just going to go for that, and let's just, why don't we edit it so we get that every single time so we can have more runs. So that's where the sanctity of the thing gets broken. But holy shit, it still stands that it is frustrating as fuck to watch someone do that and constantly have to restart just because of a dice roll. It's really annoying. So I agree with the sentiment, but I don't agree with the solution. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Ralph Clogs used 100 bits and says, "Did you read that new Lily book? So hype. You should get around to it eventually." Get it?
Yeah, I get it. Eventually. Pretty good, Ralph Clogs. Yeah, but when it comes to skipping dialogue and introductory parts and all that other shit, yeah, it's pretty bad. I think it's a problem that can be solved with better writing. When you watch a movie, you know what you're getting in for, right? But I don't know, maybe it won't be. Maybe it's just there's always going to be a conflict there because people play games to play a game instead of watching a movie. So no matter what, if you've seen it before, the movie part will get in the way. Unless it's really visually interesting. So I'm not sure. Games like Uncharted and The Last of Us have some merit to their gameplay. I strongly believe that. I think The Last of Us gets unrightfully criticized for being a shit game. I think there are moments of it that the gameplay are strong. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. I think the biggest draw there is the story. And if you want to replay The Last of Us, then you better be down for both parts, because otherwise you're going to be really annoyed by one half, and that makes things difficult to experience more than once, I think. God of War would be there too, as well. Yeah. There's a category in Bioshock Infinite where they needed a small drop percent halfway through. Instead of having so many runs ruined by the RNG, they modded it to make it drop 100%. Huh. And what did that do for the runs? Do you think New Vegas does it well in that regard, giving you exactly what you want in dialogue, provided you pick the desired option, allowing you to skip it simultaneously? Yeah, I think so. I think that being able to skip each part of dialogue is a good way of doing it. You know, you can still get the gist of the conversations without having to sit through them constantly, or having the danger of when you hit skip, it suddenly skips you through the whole fucking thing. There have been times where I've taken advantage of that. You know, if I accidentally hit the wrong dialogue option, or I want to reload and see what he would have said if I did something else, if I'm just like investigating each of the conversations instead of playing the game properly, or I just want to save scum later on or something. I don't know. Usually on my first playthroughs I live with my decisions, but on other ones I wanna play a little more loose with it, and it's good to be able to skip through until you get to a dialogue option or a choice. Yeah. Should we go fishing? Anyway, what's the next question from Patreon? In regards to the Bioshock Infinite thing, world record improved a lot faster because more runs actually became based on player skill and mechanical consistency. Yeah, that would be the goal. I just worry it would be the slippery slope argument. You know, that it's gonna open up. Well, let's mod this in, let's mod that in. You know, like, where do you draw the line? But I do think that it's really frustrating. I think that steps could definitely be taken for stuff like I don't see anything wrong with stuff like Sunshine and 64 having a modded version that just takes out that introduction, and like it's set in stone. You can't skip it. If you want the world record time to be the same no matter what, just add that time back in afterwards. Like it can be measured and added in, no problem. It's just, like I said, it's the same time every single moment. Yeah, I definitely think that is a lot safer than, you know, changing something that's determined on RNG. I wish that was possible. Maybe it's just too much work, right? But for the big categories, I don't see why not. Ocarina of Time's intro is so long too. Anyway, sorry, next Patreon question.
Lord Chicken 101 says,
cool name.
Who is your biggest inspiration for content making, and how do they impact the way you create videos, the process?
Who is? Mm-hmm. Who is? Okay, so I would give you a different answer if it was who was. I've spoken about this in the past, so I'll give you a brief repeat of that. Who was, when I first started the channel, the big three were Mr. B-Tongue, Matthew Matosis, and Super Bunny Hop, which is kind of strange to say that now, considering that two of them don't like me very much and the third one doesn't even know I exist. Yeah, those were the big three, and I was inspired equally by all three of them, and I think that if you go back and watch the older videos, you can see that inspiration shine through, especially from Matosis and Mr. B-Tongue. Not so much probably Bunny Hop, but it's there. It's just not visible in the same way that it is with the other two. That's what it was. What it is now, as awful as this is going to sound, and as bad as this may sound, but please let me explain. The answer is nobody. There's nobody that inspires me. There's nobody that I look up to. Nobody at all. In terms of YouTube, there are people that I like a lot, and there are people that I admire for their commitment in their work and what they have accomplished. Like, I speak to other creators. The people I speak the most to are Shammy and Mandalore, and even that's not really that often lately because we're just all so busy. And I really admire their content. I really admire the honesty and how genuine Nicky Jakey is in his videos. Like, there's bits and pieces there from a lot of different creators that I really do adore. But in terms of inspiration and being, you know, like there's nobody. But I think that's more of a sign that I am comfortable doing my own thing. There's no one I watch and I think I want to be more like them. And I think that's a good thing. I think that that shows that I've become comfortable with my own style that at the beginning was a lot more derivative than it is now. And I like that. So even though I do really do appreciate a lot of different creators for how they are different from me, and I really like that, and I will enjoy watching it and experiencing it myself as a viewer. These are not things that I would like to do as a creator. So yeah, there's that's the answer, and I think that's the only answer I can really give to that. I think it shows more comfort in where I am as a creator rather than an arrogance that there's nobody. It's not like that. It's just yeah. It's just I'm happy with where I am. That might change later on, but yeah, I'm happy and I'm really comfortable with my process right now and the results. Sorry that can't be longer, but that's all I have to say about that.
What's your view on the Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay that CD Projekt Red dropped a little bit ago?
I didn't watch much of it, so I can't really give you much information. I can repeat what I've said in previous streams, that a lot of people have asked me this, and I tell them that my rule generally is, if it's a game that I know I'm going to play, I may watch the initial reveal trailer or a teaser trailer here and there. I didn't even know what Shadows Die Twice was going to be from. So when that trailer came out at E3, I watched it because I go, well, what is this? Is this more Tenchu? Is it some weird subtitle for Bloodborne 2? Like, what is this even? And then the trailer, and it's this new thing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I'm going to avoid all the rest of the trailers because I don't want to be spoiled. And Cyberpunk 2077 is in that category. I haven't watched any proper trailers for Shadow of the Tomb Raider because I know I'm going to play that, and that's not even a game that I'm really that excited about. So that's how serious I take it. And it's not about, I have to go in blind because I'm going to be biased or anything like that. It's a personal thing about a personal lesson that I've learned, that if I go in blind and I don't know anything, I enjoy things more than if I didn't. Because there's this part of me that will know when I'm 8 hours in, well, it can't be done yet because there's that part in the trailer that hasn't happened yet, like that sort of thing, or it'll give me expectations that the game can't meet. Same for movies. So I just, BioShock was the one that really taught me that. I watched all the BioShock trailers that I could find. I even watched one that was had dev commentary, and they were like, "Oh, this is what we're trying to do, and we're gonna have this living, breathing city, and all its citizens interact with each other, and sometimes you're just a spectator in this world, and it's so there's all these emergent stories that will happen." And I was like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be so awesome!" Then you play the game, and it's nothing like that. So that really taught me to not bother with a lot of trailers, because it's only going to lead to disappointment. It's that line of if you're always expecting the worst, or you keep your expectations low, then you're either going to be, I think it's Yahtzee that said it, you're either going to be pleasantly surprised, or you're going to be filled with righteous indignation. I was right, I called it, it's going to be kind of bad. Or, oh, I was wrong, and now I get to have this really great experience, so it's that kind of thing. The initial trailer of Cyberpunk 2077 was really cool. The trailer I'm talking about is the CGI one with the crazy woman that has the blades for arms that gets arrested at the end, and it has the really good music. the music that is better in the trailer than it is by itself. Strangely, it's weird how that works sometimes, that a trailer can own a piece of music and it's better there than it is on its own. And it was that trailer was so evocative to me that there's one of my stories was inspired by it, and I really was taken by that image, and I really wanted that. Yeah, there's a whole story that was partly inspired by it, and I was really excited for the game. And then I saw the E3 trailer, and then that's when I knew I really needed to not watch any more trailers after that, because the E3 trailer was a huge disappointment. It was so not what I wanted it to be. It was so off the wall, too wacky, too bright, too cheerful, even though that's probably not what it's going to be in the end. And I was so put off by it that I was really disappointed. It felt like Grand Theft Auto more than this new fresh thing. And what little I saw, because I couldn't resist taking a very small peek because I wanted that interest to come back a little bit. I watched 10 seconds of the new trailer. I saw some of the shooting, and then I saw the girl in the bathtub, and then I turned it off. That seemed better, and it's renewed a little bit of my interest in it, but that's all I can say. Yeah, I hope it's good. Like I can't see how it possibly could not be good. Like it's going to be good, but is it going to be fantastic? Is it going to blow everyone away? I don't know, but yeah, I hope so. Of course, I hope so. Should I buy the ghost fish? Yeah. I think that's all I can say about that. Sorry I couldn't give you more in-depth answers, but I don't like to force, and ramble on if there's not something in my head. So sorry about that. Was there another question?
Not for them. Do you want me to read the next one?
Sure. Well, is there anything in chat?
Thank you to Smith C3K, who resubscribed with Prime for 10 months and says, "Hey, love your videos. JW. What are thoughts on," or is it just wondering? I
think it's just wondering, yeah.
What are your thoughts on DMC 5, I guess, or DMCV? I don't know the game. And will you be covering it by any chance?
Do you mean the new one that's coming out? Because DMC can be the one that didn't have the number in it. I'm guessing you mean the new one because you said V. I don't know if I'm going to be covering it because that is a series that I like, and it's important to me because I really did like the first game when it first came out, and I played the third game a ton way back when, shortly after it came out too. But it's not something that I'm hungry for, and it's not something that I've invested a lot of time into like many other huge fans of the series have. So I don't know if I'll make a video on it. I might leave that to people that are way more invested in it and have a lot more to say. But I'll never say never. If I play it and I really take to it, and I go back and refresh myself with the other games, it's possible. I will say that from the trailer, and I told this to Turbo Button and he called me crazy, that it looked a bit slower than I expected it to be, the E3 trailer. That's the only trailer I've seen. Maybe it's a bit faster than the other ones. But everything that I've seen on Twitter about it, and people who are big fans of the series, they keep saying, it's so cool. It's going to be really good. They're really hopeful for it, and I trust their estimation, their judgment of it. So it's probably just me being a little off when I saw the trailer. But yeah, I thought it looked a bit slow. And that's me with my old man reflexes too, right? So yeah, but yeah, I'll never say never. There could be a video on it in my own limited way when it comes to that series, or I could commit time to reacquainting myself with it. Yeah, but don't hold your breath. Sorry. Any more?
There's this meme from Lucid.
Meme?
I think he wanted to know if this counts as fan art. So you're giving a presentation, right?
Oh, okay. I was drawn toward
on the T-Rex thing.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was talking about. It's more of a presentation. Sure, this is my TED talk.
And I can't read. There's things open. What is a Witcher anyway? I think.
Yeah, that's from the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are my tabs from the window from the video. Yeah.
I can't read all of them. They're too small.
Post it in Dragons Den and see what people think. Is that museum worthy?
Oh no. Okay, we're okay.
I'd watch Joe give a TED talk. I would probably literally shit my pants if I had to give a TED talk. That sounds horrifying to me.
Hey Stella, how you doing?
Y2B is the best Tamana waifu. Come watch my TED talk.
Stupid Streamlabs. I have to keep closing it because I can't read.
What do you mean?
My chat is so big that their messages get lost underneath it.
Aw.
Okay, so I know you said you have already played The Witcher 1 and 2 for your video. Mind giving your thoughts on them? I tried playing 1, but combat was so bad that I read a story summary and moved on to Witcher 2, which in my opinion is decent. That was asked before and I missed it. So.
Spoilers for the eventual video, though. Spoilers. Mostly positive. Even the first one, I could tolerate the combat. But so I played The Witcher when it first came out. So soon after it came out that I pirated it. Actually, I couldn't afford to get it because that's how long ago we're talking. I think I was still living at home. I can't remember. And the load times were so bad that I stopped playing it a few hours in, because there's a lot of interior segments in The Witcher 1, and we're talking load times of over a minute every single time you go into this small little hut to talk to one person for 30 seconds or explore the area and then leave, loot the dressers for some apples and then go back outside, and then there's a minute of loading getting in and a minute of loading getting out, and that was so bad that I stopped playing. And when the enhanced edition came out, I tried it again, and it was so much better because that's the big thing that they improved on with the load times. And I played it, I think all the way through. I had a friend that was visiting once, and he played it all the way through. And now in my memory, because it was so long ago, I can't remember if he finished it and I saw him finishing it, and that's how I saw the end, or if I finished it and he didn't quite finish it, but I can't remember. But I know the whole thing, and the story is very good. I like the story, I like the presentation, I like the world. I liked how mature it was, not just in hey there are tits, but also that it's more morally gray. It's not all about good versus evil. There are difficult choices, and I like it quite a bit. I have not finished Witcher 2. I was halfway through it when events transpired that I don't want to get into that made it so I had to stop. It wasn't the game's fault though, and I was enjoying it a lot in every way. I was even enjoying the combat. I was really, really into it, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that. I'm looking forward to playing Witcher 2 probably more than Witcher 3 because I have a feeling that Witcher 3 is going to be less focused than Witcher 2. And I have a feeling that in some ways I'm going to enjoy it much more, but in other ways I'm going to enjoy it a lot less, and it's going to be a more like schizophrenic experience because of that. Whereas I'm going to enjoy Witcher 2 overall, like if you averaged it out less, but it'll be a more consistent enjoyment, if that makes sense. I think it does. Yeah. But I was surprised when I first played Witcher 2 that it was hard. Like I died in the first area more than once. Getting used to that combat system was quite difficult. But I was playing with a mouse and keyboard, and I think I'll go with gamepad when I play the second one. Someone in the chat is asking, will I stream it? No, I'm not going to stream the Witcher games. That's not happening.
Carlos says, I'm back. I was catching up on my questions since I missed them. Thank you very much for the answers. Really liked your points on Crunch, Hellblade. Happy we agree about it and everything.
You're welcome, Carlos. Thank you for the questions. Let's get the next ones from Patreon, unless there's a message that we're missing.
Oh, last question. This was asked before, and then we'll go. Have your opinions on meeting fans in public changed like going to a convention?
Who is this from?
Wait.
In chat?
Yeah. It was asked before. I missed it like twice
Oh,
already. So.
Sorry, what was the question again? How have my opinions on meeting fans changed?
Yeah, in public, like going to a convention.
Not really. I'm sure it's gonna happen eventually, and I'm not too nervous about it. But I do think it'll be kind of awkward. I don't think it's gonna be awkward because of my fans specifically. I just think that whole interaction would be kind of awkward. You know, you guys know a lot about me, but I know very little about you. So it's kind of no matter what, I'm getting blindsided. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be awkward in that way, but it's also gonna be awkward for me the first time, especially because it just never happened to me before. So it'll be strange. But I in my experience, things that scare you a little bit usually end up being good experiences after you finally just do it. So I think that that it'll happen and it'll be good overall. Just hope I can cosplay when it happens, right? You gotta cosplay.
You're gonna go as 2B, right?
Yep. Or not 2B.
Jonathan C. says, have you played Sonic Mania? If so, what's your opinion of it? If not, what's your opinion of the classic 2D Sonic games?
I have not played Sonic Mania. I have played Sonic... Okay, for... Wasn't there a Sonic that was on the Mega Drive and then it switched over to the Genesis? I can't remember. Maybe it was just Genesis. In either case, I've played Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic and Knuckles. But those were at a cousin's house. I never had a Sega system apart from the Game Gear. For the Game Gear, I had Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, which were different. But I think Sonic 2 for the Game Gear was Sonic 1 from the Genesis, and Sonic 1 for the Game Gear was its own game, which makes things kind of confusing. So I'm not sure how that worked, and I played those quite a bit on my own. I am not a big fan of the Sonic games. Not really that big into it. Yeah, even before I met many Sonic fans as a teenager, and realized that there's something wrong with Sonic fans. I think even Sonic fans that are in chat right now are going to be like, yeah, I know what you mean. Sonic fans are broken, and there's no fixing some of them. There was a friend I had that was really into Sonic, and I was really pissed when he lied about the game. And I didn't know enough about games at the time to know that he lied, but I worked out later that he was lying, and I don't know why my voice just cracked. Because I said to him, Sonic is all about speed, and I said, I feel like I can go faster in Mario than I can in Sonic, because when I play a Mario game and I go to top speed, it's pretty fast, but it's still you can follow it well enough that you can react to everything without ever dropping down from top speed. You can jump at the right time, you can bounce at the right time, you can hit the block, you can fly, you can do everything without stopping your first time through if you are quick enough and you're comfortable enough with the game. And I said I don't like Sonic because even though he's way faster than Mario and should be, it should be all about this, that the first time you go through the level, there are spikes that come out of nowhere, there are enemies that come out of nowhere, there are jumps that you can't predict. There's no way that you can go through it. You have to learn the level first, and then you go through it fast enough. And he was like, oh, no, my first time through, I can get through it no problem, and I don't have any of the problems, I can jump over these. And at the time I was like, oh wow, I guess I just suck at Sonic. And then as I got older, I realized, oh yeah, he was just full of shit. Because there's no way. There are moments where the game even puts traps in it on purpose that you're gonna hit this wall of spikes no matter what, because it's at the end of a loop-de-loop and there's no way to know it, because like sometimes Sonic is like balls touching the right hand side of the screen and you can't see anything. I don't know if Mania is like that, but I'm talking about the older ones. Now, having said that, there's something very cool about a character going so fast that you need to memorize a lot of the level and string through it, knowing when to jump and recognizing, oh, I remember there's a spike right after this, now I need to jump, and getting better at it the more that you play. But at the time, that's not what I wanted. I wanted it to be more of something that I could play my first time through, probably because I didn't have many chances to play a Sonic game, and that's how I felt that way. So that's my uninformed opinion, is that for a game about speed, I feel that Mario is faster, and in its own way, and because of that, it's pretty flawed. I haven't played any of the 3D games for more than an hour or so. I think the Sonic Adventure 2 or 1 of them, again at a friend's house. I never had one was on the Dreamcast, right? I never had a Dreamcast, so I don't know much about them, and they seemed okay. But that was around the same time that I started noticing that all Sonic fans kind of smell like cheese, and I've said that before on stream, and that was putting me off a little bit, and I wanted to distance myself a little bit, which is not the franchise's fault. It is. It's the fans. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't really talk much about Sonic. Sorry, I'm just not that experienced with it. I had fun playing those Game Gear games though, because I had nothing else to do. Sonic 06 stream. I hear that game's terrible. I've never played that one. Not even for a brief little try. I hear it's terrible. Oh, should we go give Jody a cauliflower? How many days does it take to ripen a cauliflower? Oh, it's a gold cauliflower. Oh no. Is there another question?
Are you interested at all in the new Spider-Man? I'm personally not. It just looks like more Arkham to me, and I wasn't a fan of those games.
Okay, so maybe I can go more in depth on my opinions that I had today, because I played it today. So, good timing. So the best thing about it are its visuals. It's very high, I guess, production value. This is probably the best way of saying it. It is very pretty. There's a really good sense of scale in it all. The combat is flashy, and it's pleasing to watch. It's like they're trying to emulate movie scenes. The swinging through the city is also so good, and it looks so much like some of the older movies that there was a tweet last night that I saw, and it was Spider-Man swinging through the city, and it wasn't until the very end that I realized that it was a scene from the older movies and it wasn't from the game. That's how good the game looks and how much it captures that. It is very, very good. Games are not meant to just be visually, interesting, though, in my opinion, and that's a problem, I think. Let's talk about some other positives first. The combat was better than I thought it was going to be, much better. I thought it was going to be way more spammy and there weren't going to be that many moves. I was surprised when there were quite a few combos and there were more ways to interact with the environment than things that you can just, context sensitive items that you can fling around. You can bounce yourself off walls. There were a bunch of things that it started to feel a little bit like Bayonetta did. And Bayonetta to me was this combat system that I was only using maybe a third of the potential as I was playing it. And as I got more combos and there were all these things I kept forgetting about, the game started to feel nowhere near as in-depth as that, but there were many things I kept thinking, oh damn, I could be doing that more, and oh shit, I should be experimenting with that more, and there are these cool things that I could be trying, but I'm not because I'm not comfortable enough with it, and that's to me a good sign of the combat system, and that there are many combos to unlock and different things that you can switch over. So yeah, I think that's a good sign. And I'm happy about that because that's something that I really needed to nail. But the puzzles weren't that great. Maybe they get better as the game goes on. Like I said, I only played it for 4 hours, so take everything that I'm saying with a little bit of skepticism. 4 hours is not a long time, especially considering that at least an hour of that was swinging around getting backpacks. Yeah, but the puzzles were not that great. Swinging was a bit too brain dead. It felt like the Assassin's Creed climbing than anything else. And for some people that's going to be great, but for me, I thought that maybe there should have been a mode where you have to aim where your web goes and you pull yourself like that. You can kind of do that for short distances, but long distances it doesn't work. Yeah, you just hold down R2 and you just move in a direction. And there are some things you can do, like when you time, letting go of the button matters for some momentum, and you can press X to pull yourself a little faster. Where you aim, where Spidey is going matters too, so you don't crash into a building, and there's all those things that I think you can get better at. But it was still just a little too easy, and I think that this would probably be way too much for the game, and it's not what they wanted to do. But for me, that likes to have complexity and I like to suck at a game at the start, and I like to get better and better and better as it goes on, and I like to master something. If they could have somehow had a version of the web swinging that was manual and you needed to get better at in a really, really tangible way as the game went on, I would have preferred that, instead of, you're just making these little tweaks and getting a little better and then you cap out really, really early. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. The writing and the missions that you do, there was a lot of filler content that, I kept making the stupid joke about, where's my moon? When am I getting a moon for this? And that's pretty bang on for a lot of what that was. I found that getting the backpacks were actually quite enjoyable because it reminded me a bit of when I played just the demo, and the demo was fun. I played one of the Crackdown demos, and as you jumped around the city, you would collect orbs, and the orbs would make you jump higher and run faster permanently. And there was this really cool you know, feedback loop of fun of, you know, you get the orb, which makes you jump faster, which makes you be able to get the orb, and then you get, which makes you jump faster, or so jump higher, which makes you get the next orb. And that was fun, and it reminded me a little bit of that when I was getting the backpacks, you know, just zipping around, landing on it and getting it. Even though it wasn't changing gameplay at all, there was something kind of satisfying about trying to land right next to it as I'm swinging around, and I enjoyed that. But the rest of them seem like crazy filler that doesn't even make sense within the world. The one where I got the lab on the roof, and you know, it's a pollution monitoring station, and after activating it, suddenly a bunch of pollution appeared in the city around me that wasn't there before, and it wasn't explained by, oh well, he's wearing a new visor for you to see, and it was like, no, it's just suddenly here, and now go run through some clouds. There was a lot of just boring filler tasks that were on a huge list that it was just downright fucking intimidating, and not all of it's going to be fun. And even if some of it is fun, I'm sure that you're going to get tired of it before long. And I don't know. Did I feel like Spider-Man? Sure. I think the most authentic way that I felt like Spider-Man, to use the term seriously for a second, was in how Spider-Man is perpetually late everywhere he goes. And I made the joke on stream, but I meant it too. And it's like there were so many distractions as you're swinging around the city that I felt like what he must feel, you know, in the character. It's like, oh shit, well, I have all these engagements, but you know, someone just got kidnapped, or there's a mugging, or this or that, or this or that, and that's the most that I felt like Spider-Man was in those moments, and that was kind of cool. I thought that was an interesting way of using all that content, you know, and it's connecting that with the character, with what would just be normal side quests that the game shoves in your face. Yeah, I thought that was neat. But to end on negative, because of course we're gonna end on a negative, because it's me. The writing was really bad, really bad. The characterization of everybody is no one was interesting. I guess the most interesting person of all was Mary Jane, and even that just seems like her whole character is, I'm a support person for Spider-Man, you know. There was really nothing going on there. Spidey himself is just very generic and kind of plain. There was a hilarious scene very early on that I'm not going to spoil because well, maybe I should. Nah, I shouldn't spoil it because people might be pissed. But like, if you watch the stream, it's when I said 8 years afterwards. Like, are really? Like, it was so bad. Yeah, it just really not good. No one's really interesting. I don't give a shit. You know, there are pacing problems of moving from, you know, a chase to combat to now we're doing some puzzles. Now we're stealth section. You know, it was very, very all over the place, and I don't know. I wasn't really feeling that part of it, but yeah, overall it was still better than I thought it was going to be. I thought that it was going to be quite cheap and not well made, and the visual fidelity was only going to be the only good thing about it, and the spectacle of it. But no, a lot of effort went into it, and this was definitely a dev team that gave a shit. And yeah, I mean, in some ways it's very impressive, and in other ways it's quite a generic example of what games are at the moment that will probably not age all that well. But still, it's if you love Spider-Man, it's definitely worth your time, I think. Definitely. Next question. And then are we done after that? Because you look like you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, it's like 2:30, right? So.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola or Pepsi products?
Coca-Cola for me.
That's all for Jonathan.
I don't really like Pepsi products all that much. I prefer Coke so much that whenever, you know, you're at a restaurant and they say, not that we go to restaurants anymore, but when you go to a restaurant and you say, can I have a Coke please, and they say, is Pepsi okay, I say yes, but I don't mean yes. right, Lily? Like, you say yes, but
Well, because, you know,
no.
you can't really say no without...
No. It's not okay. It's not okay.
I had people say that to me, though, when I was a waitress.
They said no?
I had one table, I'll never forget. They brought their own Coke in cans, and they brought it out and poured it. And I didn't have the heart to be like, excuse me, you're not supposed to do that, so I let them drink it. Some people take it very seriously.
More seriously than us?
Apparently.
Yeah. Well, that was a lighter question. What's the next person's questions? Maybe we can do that, and then we'll finish. Hold on, there's a question in chat. For a serious question, what are your thoughts on games like Final Fantasy 15, which are constantly updating their content with new stuff and story? I see a lot of people criticizing the game for it because they feel like they got sold a lesser experience. That's definitely an issue, and it's interesting to think of an update being a negative because, you know, you should have waited, and if you had waited, you would have gotten the better experience. But that's really true about anything except for like a Nintendo game, you know what I mean? Like, most games get updates, and well, even Nintendo games aren't really like that anymore. Most games get updates, and the DLC is often tied into the main thing and adds improvements, and really, you should really only play games when the stupid Game of the Year editions come out. That's when games are really fully done. And you know, everything is really in early access until it gets its last patch, you know, the way you look at it. But what Final Fantasy 15 is unique is that the story got updated. Books have in the past got updated with different editions. I've updated some of my books. You know, there are some fixes, or I've rewritten parts of it, or one of them I rewrote the whole thing. You know, so yeah, it's something that happens. But in terms of video games, yeah, a story being rewritten and updated like that is unusual. Yeah. See, I'm the opposite when I hear that. It's like I wish I had experienced the first one so I could see what the changes is like. But yeah, it's definitely a weird thing to think of. You get punished for being a fan, you know. Same for prices, you know. If you're the most excited about a game that's coming out or a movie, you know, not only are you going to get it right away and get the less polished experience, but it's also going to cost you the most. And there's something backwards about that, but the way that I reconcile it is that if I am such a big fan, then I will want to pay more because I want to support the more content, you know. But it is kind of weird to think of. If anything, things should be cheaper when they first come out and get a little more expensive a while after that, and then start to go on sale afterwards, right? It's kind of weird to realize.
Thank you to Griggs12345 who used 2 bits and says, so what would you rate the new game you know out of 10?
6.1. For obvious reasons. There's no serious out of 10 I can give it right now. I haven't played it enough to know. Ooh, what's that bird? I've never seen the bird before. Anyway, what are the next round of questions?
It's a long one.
It's a long one?
Well, it's like a whole page, right?
Let me see. Solitary gamers. Yeah, okay. Alright, I think we're going to call it here then, and we'll come back and we'll continue. I think next time we do it, we're going to have to get started on Patreon questions a little sooner. I'm okay with this happening on the first stream because it's like we're sinking into it, and I like to interact with chat at the beginning. But I think that in the next one we should get started on the Patreon questions sooner. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get to bed in time. Oh no. Hopefully we can go a little later next time too. But we're both pretty tired and we have to wake up with the kids in the morning.
Finn's been getting up between 6 and 8, so it's hard to say when he's gonna get up tomorrow, or today rather.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. These aren't usually the most exciting of streams, but I still enjoy them. So it's always nice to see the same faces show up. So thank you so much. We will try to continue this tomorrow, but at the same time, but there's no promises because as always, it's children permitting. So yeah. So thanks a lot. If you're around, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you maybe for the Danganronpa streams on Wednesday.
Good night, you guys.
See you later.